Edmonton Expo Center. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Center has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, will bring your biggest event to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
The change of pace.
All welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Motor, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Regular service, extend the life of your gear, and keep it running at peak capacity.
Here's a steal and a dish.
Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
There's nothing like a spinning sunset by the
Other
lake.
teams have to win, too. That's a Utah and Nashville play Thursday.
It's a new truck.
Here's a steal and a dish.
Springtime in Edmonton also means project time with help from Metal Supermarkets. Huge inventory cut to your precise requirements, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for... MetalSupermarkets.com.
Stars continues, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Yesterday, you heard stories from Stars VIPs, very important patients, and how Stars has made a difference in their lives. You also heard from members of the Stars team and other key contributors. Today, as the fundraising efforts continue, please donate and help keep Stars flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. The Jason Gregor Show.
For Evan Moonshaw. Driest spell of the season, driest spell in a long time for Edmonton. Here's Sergachev to the change of pace. The finish. Sensational.
On Sports 1440.
Knipple, Man, James, Diabate, playing together.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Here's a steal and a dish. His third opportunity in the slot. And this one, he buries. Edmonton back in front, 5-4.
Just after 2:00 on a Wednesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. There's lots and lots to get to. As always, the Gregor Show is presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where, of course, it's the OG of lotteries tonight. Lotto 649, where you can get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca, and $24 million up for grabs tonight, and the $5 million Classic jackpot. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Somebody won Lotto Max last night. Hope it was you. Gonna be 18 mil on Friday. Still pretty good. We got lots to discuss. Was gone for a few days in Toronto. Weather was terrible, but everything else was good. Well, except the Jays offense. My God. Like, you know what? There's no guarantees. You go to a sporting event, it's going to be good. It was still entertaining. It was fun. You know, with the family, we had a great time. Obviously, my son wasn't loving it, but he was involved in the chase for the the ball almost every inning. That kept him occupied down the stretch. But the Jays right now, I'm watching that game. I'm like, is there any team worse than the Jays when it comes to runners in scoring position and getting runs home? Like, how many opportunities they keep just wasting? So I looked it up. Like, honestly, the Jays' batting average is middle of the pack. But RBIs, runs scored, they're third worst in all of baseball. This is, and you could look and say, hey, Brendan Little. Yeah, well, guess what? They got rid of Brendan Little. Did it change anything? They still gave up a ton of runs, and more importantly, they scored none. It's at the point now where your starting pitchers basically have to, pitch a shutout for you to have a chance. Now, the Jays did actually just go up 1-0 on the Dodgers in the bottom of the third inning right now up against Shohei Ohtani. So we'll see if maybe, just maybe, right, Sanchez got a double as Varsho scored. So they can score. The guy wasn't even in scoring position when he got the double. He scored from first, which is good. But, man, you want to talk about an anemic offense. Like, what's worse, the Jays offense? Well, no, the Jays offense for sure. But last night, Oiler fans, here's the thing. If your last night is not new, right? This is the Edmonton Oilers. This is who they've shown you they are. Outside of a stretch of games where, they can play good defensively. I have no doubt that they can play good defensively. When I say this is who they are, this is a team that on any given night will decide, I don't want to commit to playing the right way. When they do commit, we've seen how good they've been. But this is not a new thing. Like, any Oiler fan who watches the game last night and then comes to the conclusion, wow, the Oilers are never going to win. Honestly, I don't think you're paying attention. What do you mean? Did you not watch last year's playoffs? The first two games against, say, LA Kings, they were dreadful. I know everybody's like, well, it's Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner, right? And I kept trying to tell, no, it's not just Stuart Skinner. The team defense sucks. When they decide to want to play Santa Claus, there's no one better. Like, their jerseys should be red and white some nights. Ho, 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 Merry Puckmas. That's what it is. And they just give the puck away. Look at the goals last night. My God. How many times did Utah really have to work hard to score a goal? This is not new. This is who the Oilers are. So until their core group of leaders decides that enough's enough, nothing's going to change. You're going to have stretches where you're going to see, geez, look how well they can play. Yeah, because they're talented. They got some skill. But their will fluctuates significantly. Right? It fluctuates like, what are we? We're into April now. And some of you out there are like, geez, I got to tighten things up here. I got to have tarps off in the summertime. And boom, you'll be down. You'll be eating right. You're passing the sweet table. It's all great. And then next fall, goes back up. That's what the Oilers are. Right? They're up and down like a yo-yo. Right? You're on one of those new fads for food, and this is going to lose me some weight, and it works for a month, and then eventually it comes right back. That's what the Oilers are. They can be good defensively for a stretch, but eventually they can't help themselves. They can't do it. Doesn't matter who's on the team. Right now, I know everyone's going to say, oh, it's only Tristan Jarry. No, it isn't. No, hey, Tristan Jarry is who he is. Right? You know what? When the game was 5-4, Tristan Jarry made some huge saves. Now, it didn't make enough, and none of the goals were awful. Like, if you don't like the Schmaltz shorthanded goal on the goalie, fair. Then you can't like the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins goal. It's basically the same goal, just a different goalie. Right? Come down the left wing, shoot far side. If you like the Nuge goal, then you should like the Schwartz goal. You can't like one and hate the other. Well, you can as a fan, but you can't criticize one and then say the other one was awesome. Those are the same shot. The difference was, you look at, now Rosovic's pass, I watched it numerous times, it did hit a skate. Okay? But if you're going to make that pass, it's got to connect. It's just that simple. And Bouchard, you got to have a little bit more urgency in his game. Now the thing is, Like I saw on, and this is where the problem for Evan Bouchard arises. You watch the national broadcast of TSN. They actually on the not the broadcast, but the replay. I was watching the highlights this morning, and they talk about Evan Bouchard giveaway. It wasn't even Evan Bouchard's giveaway. He didn't make the bad pass on the one goal. The pass attempt was coming to him. It was a grenade, but they say Evan Bouchard turnover, and that's why people are like, Evan Bouchard's terrible. Right now, would I wish he would have skated harder on the back check? Yes, 1,000%. Because had he done it, he probably would have got a stick in the lane. But the main culprit of the play is Roslovic. That's where it starts. It's the main one. And, the Oilers, until they, and I'm not sure they can. From what I've seen, and I know that, their leaders will get pissy and they'll get annoyed with the media and, geez, everybody's counting us out. No one respects us. Well, look at your track record, dude. And I'm one who's a pretty big supporter, but I'm just honest. I watch Oilers. Hey, I think they're a good team. They'll make the playoffs because they got enough skill. But they do not have the consistent will to play good every night. That's just a fact. Okay? It's not going to change. Now, tonight, they could come back. Would I be surprised if they lock it down and they beat the San Jose Sharks 4-2? Not at all. Because that's who the Oilers are. When they decide to play, they'll play. Now, in the meantime, people will blame the goalie and they'll blame the coaches. And you know what? Because, hey, that's fun. But at the end of the day, their core leadership group has continually sent the message that types of efforts like last night are acceptable. Because nothing changes. It's acceptable. Our main guys, that's okay for us. Now you might get mad and scream and yell, but nothing ever changes. You never hear of, when was the last time you heard of a closed door meeting for this team? When was the last time you heard any of their core group call out the other core, the guys who are on the ice all the time? Ever? So, hey, they clearly are okay with it. Now, at some point, they'll get mad. Hey, guys, we got to button down the hatches. We got to play better. And they do for a few weeks. And then they have a game like last night. Now, those games are going to, and you know what? If the Oilers had a game like that once every 10 games, wouldn't be a big deal because that's pro sports. Some nights you're not going to have it. But when it happens, well, up until their 3-game winning streak, it used to happen every 2 or 3 games. That's who they are. And the only way it changes is if they decide to change. It's just that simple. So we'll get into that on the show today. Mike Rupp's going to join us right away. We got a loaded show as well. We got Yaremchuk coming up a little bit later on in the show. We got Adam Scully talk a little Masters. We'll hear from Mark Spector, Shen Peng, San Jose. We also have a very special guest joining us in the business of sport. Jonathan Bradley will be by. Innovative genius with RGA Ventures, does a lot of stuff in professional sports. I think you'll be very interested in this conversation, like a lot of business of sports. We always like to touch on different elements of the business of sports, and this is a pretty big one. So we'll get to all of that. But first, we're going to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Silent Ice Center, located just south of Edmonton, 1,600-seat facility for hockey, curling, for concerts, and the Summit Restaurant right in between. It's a perfect place to watch the game or sports. That is Silent Ice Center's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network joins us. Rupper, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. Where do you come out? Like, to me, people can get mad. This is who the Oilers are. And I'm a big believer, Rupper, and you were in rooms for a long time. This team, and we saw it even in the playoffs last year, first 2 games against LA, brutal. Everybody wanted to blame Stuart Skinner because it's easy to blame one person. And then the team decides to play really good. And then Stuart Skinner comes back and they still play good and they dominate Vegas and they dominate Dallas. And then they just lost to a better team in Florida. I don't even think they played horribly at all. Florida was just better. But this season has been, and I get the emotion of losing back-to-back cups. It's hard, right? I don't know the exact emotion, but I can see the team struggle. But this group has shown that they can shut it down, which they did for about 10 games. But, man, when they decide not to, they are Santa Claus, and there's no better team at gifting goals in the NHL than the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And this team, like you mentioned, that has locked it down in the past. We've seen it. So I think that's the frustrating part, is that I always felt like as a player and on a team, it's a decision. that you have to make. I mean, that's it's really simplifying it, saying it that way, but that's ultimately what it is. I mean, you're sitting here, hey, what's the score? What do we need right now? The game flow, the situational play. You got to make the right decisions. And when you don't, it changes. It changes a lot. It changes a lot. Then you kind of get in this back and forth game, and then it gets away from you really quick, or you get behind in the game. Now you've got to really open it up to try to get back. So, yeah, I think that's again simplifying it. But at the end of the day, when I've been in meetings and we're talking about it as a group, like it's a decision to make. And will it take away from maybe some offensive chances? Yeah, it might. But at the end of the day, as long as you do it at the right times and of a game, like I don't think it should take too much away from your offensive capabilities. And that's really, for me, kind of what the Edmonton Oilers are right now, where it's exciting hockey. I mean, as a fan watching that game and seeing, kind of some back and forth and seeing lots of goals, that's fun stuff, but it'll drive a coach crazy. And it's not something that is very sustainable, I think, come playoff time.
No. And the thing is, they've shown that if they want to, they can batten down the hatches. And they've done it against good teams in the past. So are they capable of doing it again? To me, I'd be foolish to say no. They're capable of it, but they're also capable of doing what they did last night. Right, you're up 3-1. You get some good depth goals from your bottom guys. Right, your fourth line responds right away after giving up the first goal. You come back and you're like, okay, here we go. It's 2-2 game, 1-1 game. 2-4 minutes into the game. Now, the good news for the Oilers is the Vegas Golden Knights, the Anaheim Ducks, heck, even the Colorado. Like, I'm not sold there's a team in the West. Like, even Colorado, man, their injuries and their goaltending and everything else, like. There's some question marks. Edmonton has bigger ones because they've been the most inconsistent of the good teams. But I think the West is kind of wide open to see which team is actually going to show up for a 6-week stretch to get themselves to the Cup final.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is it's wide open. And you just got to, all right, who can kind of get there first? I think will serve them pretty well in the playoffs. I mean, you sit there and you look at the Anaheim Ducks and geez, the way they are as a team, are they fun? Yeah, they're fun. They've got a nice youth movement there, but that's a team that has a lot of issues. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights, are they playing better? I mean, they're winning right now, but they're not exactly going against Murderers Row since John Tortorella's taken over. So we might not know until the playoffs start if this team is going to be any different. So yeah, I mean, I think that is what makes it. It almost makes it even more frustrating because it's available. You know what I mean? And a team with the cachet and the type of team that Edmonton has been the last number of years, this is one where you're like, hey, there's a path here. Like there's a path, and no path is going to be easy. And you're going to run into some teams that are they're going to up the ante come playoff time, but there's a lot of question marks, and especially in that the path that the Edmonton Oilers are kind of set to set forth on. And yeah, I mean that's kind of the biggest thing for me. It's like use these last number of games to just make the right decisions, and let's see what that can do for you in some of these games. And hopefully that can answer some things so you're not getting into the playoffs and feeling like you got to flip a switch.
Yeah. And now, because I've seen lots of teams come down the stretch in the last 5 games of the season, usually for teams that are comfortably in the playoffs, and you look and say, hey, you know what? They're good, but they limp in, they go 2-1-2 or something like that in their final 5 games, and the playoffs coming, and everything changes. And you've been there, Rupper, you've been on veteran teams. So it's not like they necessarily flip a switch per se. It's just they recognize that now it's urgent, right? And so even though you want to play that way in the final 10 days of regular season, is it normal to not be as engaged? And so for the teams that are in a playoff spot, and Edmonton to miss the playoffs now would have to be a monumental collapse, right? Like they might drop out of first place in the Pacific, like to be very likely, but to not make the playoffs. And I know that as a group, they're like, we don't care if we get home ice or not. And I'm just not sure if I love that mindset or not. But is there any part of you that's like, okay, veteran teams, been there before, that I don't put much stock into it? Or do you think there's something legit about carrying over your play to the playoffs?
So as a player, I always thought that you wanted to. I mean, you obviously want to play the right way all the time. You want to win every single game you ever play, but you want to go into the playoffs feeling good about yourself. And as a player, on teams, that was like the big thing that you were paying attention to. Hey, let's just be playing the right way, even if it's 2 games, 3 games, 5 games before we get into the playoffs. That'll do wonders for us. I thought that as a player, but then on this side of it, like we've seen teams not look good down the stretch, and then they are able to go on a run. I mean, I want to go off the top of my head. I think the Florida Panthers were not very good down the stretch going into the playoffs. I mean, if they were a team, at least one of the last 2 years that just kind of snuck in, and they end up being able to up the ante in the playoffs. That's the key factor for me, is some players you have on roster that can elevate come playoff time and get uncomfortable and have their game look a different way and still be able to succeed. Then you talk about as a team being able to do the same. That's one thing we know that Edmonton can do. We've seen it. We know that there's another level that Connor McDavid can find. And there's another level that Evan Bouchard has found in the playoffs. Like, we've seen it. So there's no reason to think they can't do it. Now, the big question for me is some of those other teams. Does Anaheim have players like that? Does the Vegas Golden Knights, they haven't had some great success, I would say, in the last number of years as far as the playoff success. And so, they have guys who've done it before. Can they do it now? I mean, that to me is the biggest thing. So I almost pay attention more now to, do you have the personnel that understands what the playoffs are and understands the mindset that they have to be in? If you do, I think you can kind of quote unquote flip a switch. And that's something that would certainly be in the advantage, I think, of Edmonton.
Tristan Jarry didn't play awful last night. Didn't really make any key saves. Made one big one, I thought, when it was 5-4. But for the most part, Rupper, I think this is Connor Ingram's team now, and I think that's been pretty obvious for a bit. Last night probably just salts it away. So they got 4 games left. Ingram's going to play tonight. Regardless of what happens, he's going to play against LA on Saturday. And then, you know what, it'll come down to, do they want him to play both games or only one next week? Do you think Tristan Jarry is salvageable in Edmonton next season?
I do. Here's the thing with Tristan Jarry, and I've talked to you about this before Edmonton even went out to get him. I've seen Tristan Jarry since he's come in the league doing the Penguin broadcasts, and he's frustrating at times. I think you can see that, but there's this pedigree in him, this ceiling in him, where you talk about the money that he makes. If you're taking anybody in those, this is how I kind of always have viewed him. When you're taking anybody that's in that realm of what he's making dollar-wise, I don't think there's a comp that has a ceiling that he has. Now, that's a scary thing, because we're talking about a hypothetical ceiling that if he hasn't gotten to it in a long time, what does it matter? Well, the hope is that if you can get the right kind of play in front of him, that can bring that back out. Here's the thing, though. The Pittsburgh Penguins are having success this year. Tristan Jarry looked pretty good in Pittsburgh early on in the year, and things, it's been a surprising year in Pittsburgh. The last couple seasons, you and I have talked about it. That was one of the worst game managing teams, defensive teams, as far as letting your goaltenders see things that they shouldn't see at the National Hockey Team or National Hockey League level. His numbers were not good. And he struggled. So I do think there is a world out there that if you can just get predictable shots on him, he's still going to have those moments. Tristan Jarry's going to have games where you're just like, how did that one go in? What was he thinking about in that moment? He has those moments, but he also has this ability to go on a run where you see him go to a couple all-star games. Like, he's got a pretty high ceiling. So regardless of what happens here down the stretch, I still think there's a world out there that if you provide him with the right environment, that he could be a really good goaltender. Now, is he going to be one of the best? Is he going to be an all-star again? I don't know. But he's certainly better when you give him just predictable shots on net. And what we just talked about, Edmonton hasn't necessarily been doing that, so that it hasn't brought the best out of him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Looking at some of the other teams, Rupper, You see the Philadelphia Flyers, who have played excellent hockey now at the right time of the season. They moved up and put themselves in a really good position down the stretch to secure a playoff spot, right? They got 92 points. They're 2 up on Columbus. They're 3 up on Detroit. Like, it's not like they can just, waltz into the playoffs, but, let's say you go 2-2, and then suddenly you're forcing these teams to have to go at least 3-1. In the case of Blue Jackets, they have to go 3-0-1. So they put themselves in a really good spot. What do you make of the Flyers? Like, the Penguins, if that's who they meet, and if they stay, that's who they'll meet. Like, they could easily beat Pittsburgh, right? Like, I'm not sure how good the Penguins are, because right now the Penguins are outscoring their defensive problems, right? Sheloff has I think, got 60 goals scored in his last 14 starts or something, like ridiculous amount of offense, right? And so what do you make of the Penguins and the Flyers? Right now, it looks like a good chance they'll face each other. Who do you like to win that series?
I would probably still go Penguins, just because I think that they've shown more consistency this year than the Flyers. Doing a Flyers breakdown today, and the one thing I kind of want to jump in is whatever their record, they were like 15-5-1 or something in their last like 21 games. So those are really impressive numbers. So then I started thinking to myself, off the top of my head, I remember the last 2 seasons, the Flyers have been one of the best rush chance teams in the NHL. But then when you talk about generating offense in other facets and other ways, they weren't very good. They're kind of a one-trick pony as far as how they got offense, but they're pretty electrifying how they did it. So I started looking at over that run, what their offenses look like. They actually haven't generated a ton of looks and a ton of offense from, whether it's off the cycle, off the rush even has been down, on the forecheck, just a lot of, they struggled with inner slot opportunities. So I'm like, well, what's happening here? How are they figuring this out? Their defensive metrics have been pretty good, but I think what it is that they're getting goaltending. And that has been the biggest thing. It's not just Dan Vladar. He's been awesome. But it's Samuel Harrison too. When he's gotten in there, he's been good. This is something that has been very strong over this last stretch to get this team into the position they're at. And then they've just gotten timely offense. I mean, you've had players over that stretch where you've got Trevor Zegras, you've got Owen Tippett, you've got Christian Dvorak, and you got Matvei Michkov. Those guys have all been about a point a game or better in that stretch. So it's about timely goals, but to me, I don't know how sustainable it is, but they're getting great goaltending, and that's really gotten them in the position they're in.
Yeah, well, it's very, very true. Last one for you, Rupper. Buffalo, Tampa, Montreal. Tied atop the Atlantic Division. They'll have 102 points. They'll have 4 games remaining. And obviously finishing first is a huge advantage because you don't have to face the other 2 teams. Of those 3, which one do you think it's most vital that they finish first to avoid? Like, is there one where you say, man, if they're not first, I don't have much faith?
Most vital, I'd say, is Montreal. I think that Buffalo can beat Tampa. I think Tampa can beat Buffalo. I don't think Montreal could beat either of those teams in round 1. Can they? Yeah, of course they can. So let me rephrase that. Do I think they will? No, I think those other teams have more size. They have different ways of scoring and winning, and they've got a little more heaviness to them. So I think Montreal really needs to finish in that first spot. But then again, I will say it like I always say it. They keep proving me wrong every step of the way. So maybe they would do it again here.
Rupper, always good to catch up with you, buddy. Enjoy the games tonight. Not a huge amount of playoff implication games tonight. The Sabres, of course, are playing. The Oilers are playing, so those ones matter. But tomorrow night, it gets really hectic again. Lots of teams on the bubble in both conferences. You look at Detroit. God, they need wins. The Islanders. And quickly, give me your thoughts on Pete DeBoer. Yeah. 4 games left. Now, he did sign a contract extension, so it's different than Tortorella. But what do you make of the Islanders' move, losing 4 in a row and axing Patrick Roy?
I mean, it's a gutsy thing. You lock up the guy maybe that you wanted for the future. So there's that. As far as the now, last night couldn't have gone worse for the Islanders as far as what's happened in the night where they were idle. But Pete DeBoer, that starts tomorrow night. I think they're gonna have to win out. They got to win out in these games. We'll see what happens, but they might be in trouble here, Greg's.
Rupper, great stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you Friday on the rundown.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
There you go. That is Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. That was so not the latest a coach has been fired. 4 games remaining for them There was 3 when Lou Lamoriello replaced Claude Julien. So that record still upholds by the New Jersey Devils. And we'll see. Bold strategy. See if it works out for the New York Islanders. We'll come back. We got a lot of texts to get to. We'll get to that more. The Oilers, who are in San Jose tonight to take on the Sharks. Touch on that on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Craving a dining experience that rises above the rest? Head to Summit Restaurant in the Silent Ice Center, just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Savor exceptional house-made pizza, delectable entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails in a stylish, modern atmosphere. Perfect for a casual meal or a special night out. Summit offers a refined experience where every bite and sip reflects our dedication to quality. Elevate your dining experience. Make Summit Restaurant your destination tonight.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Curious to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jeff Brav and 118th.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's AquaCentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EUL. Helping you finish your electrical project is their goal. From pot lights to electrical panels, the gear you need is at EUL.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. EUL.ca, your partners in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
It is game day. We'll see if Oilers fans, do they feel like tonight will be a good night against the San Jose Sharks, Oilers, Vegas, and the Ducks in quite the battle for first and second place in the division. Each team has 4 games remaining. The Oilers own the tiebreaker as they've got 30 regulation wins, Vegas 28, Anaheim 24. Oilers 88 points, Golden Knights 88 points, Anaheim 87 points. And if you look at remaining games, and you know what? Let's get to our stats of the day, just because of that right now. Brought to you by All Star Construction, who, of course, founded in 2009, specializing in underground utilities, powers, gas, telecommunications, street lighting. They also do neighborhood renewal projects. They help shape and build Edmonton communities. That is All Star Construction. And so, of course, the Oilers play the Sharks tonight. Then the Oilers have 2 days off. They're in LA on Saturday, then a day off. They're home. They play Colorado next Monday, 2 days off, and they wrap up the season at home against the Vancouver Canucks. So only team ahead of them in the standings, Colorado. Anaheim plays at home tomorrow night against the Sharks, second half of back-to-back. Then they have Anaheim on Sunday. Then they Vancouver on Sunday. Then they finish on the road in Minnesota and in Nashville. That Nashville game could be huge. The Preds could come down to it. Like the Ducks might not get a free pass there. So the Ducks are obviously reeling right now. Losers of 6 in a row. Not playing great hockey. Vegas, meanwhile, they are on the road in Seattle tomorrow. They're in Colorado on Saturday. Then they are home to Winnipeg and Seattle next Monday and Wednesday. So their season will wrap up. And so the Oilers will know if that Vancouver game means anything. So can they afford to rest some guys? Maybe. And now I know the team has said they don't care about home ice. Part of me thinks that's the problem with the team. Right? What do you mean? Well, we're the only team where home ice doesn't matter. Everybody else is playing for home ice, but it doesn't matter. We'll just get in. Like, give me a break. I don't know, maybe change your focus. Maybe say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should try. Because I know everyone said, yeah, but last year they had home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup Finals. So what? That's one series. Right? If you're always going on the road, when all of the historical data says it's a benefit to be the home team, to suggest that it doesn't matter, seems to me that's kind of stupid. So we'll see. But the Oilers, the Golden Knights, and the Ducks all battling down the stretch. So Edmonton, like if I look at schedules, it's, I don't know if like Vegas plays Seattle, Colorado, Winnipeg, Seattle. Now Seattle's been brutal. So 2 games against Seattle. Edmonton has Vancouver. Like they got nothing to play for. San Jose, like some days I think that might be an easier game. You got to get up for it because you know the Sharks are going to be coming prepared. They got to win. They want to make the playoffs. So they'll be hungry. That might be an easier game. The LA Kings, it's an afternoon game. You're rested. Meanwhile, the Kings, they play Vancouver tomorrow night at home, then Edmonton. And then they got 3 and 4 next week, Monday in Seattle, Tuesday in Vancouver, Thursday in Calgary. So the Kings are in a similar position. They want to make the playoffs. So, you know, you're the Edmonton Oilers. You could look at this and say, hey, we could knock some teams out of the playoffs here, essentially. Get some big wins on the road in San Jose and LA and give ourselves a better chance to get home ice. So it is it's tight. If you look at the race at the bottom, the Utah Mammoth are a real good position to make a playoff spot. They're not guaranteed, but they're in a really good spot with 88 points. Nashville has 84 points, and they play Utah, Minnesota, San Jose, and Anaheim all at home. LA has 5 games left. They have 83 points. They're technically slightly ahead of Nashville right now in points percentage. 538 to Nashville, 539 to LA. The Kings have, as I mentioned, Vancouver, Edmonton, and then on the road, Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary. You know, 4 of 5 teams below them in the standings. The Kings, they control their own destiny. Like they have an easier schedule than Nashville, for sure. The Sharks, they got 6 games left. Edmonton tonight at home, then in Anaheim, then back home against Vancouver, then on the road, Nashville, Chicago, Winnipeg. Kind of odd that their last 3 games aren't even in their division. against 3 Central teams. But they do play Nashville again, and that could be massive. Now, the Jets might still tell you that, hey, we feel we got a chance. The Jets have what, 5 games left. They play St. Louis, Philly, Vegas, Utah, San Jose. So there are some games, like, could you imagine if that Winnipeg-San Jose game, the last game of the regular season, comes down to a playoff spot? It'd seem wild, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities. So that's the battle. The interesting one for me is Buffalo, Montreal, and Tampa Bay, just because of how much is really at stake between them. The Sabres, 4 games, Tampa, 4 games, Montreal, 4 games, all the same amount of points. Buffalo and Tampa are tied for regulation wins. Right now, Buffalo has the Rangers tonight in New York. Then they're home to Columbus tomorrow night. Then they have 3 days off. Then they're in Chicago, and then they wrap up the season next Wednesday against Dallas. Tampa Bay has Montreal, Boston, Detroit, New York. Like tomorrow night, that Montreal-Tampa Bay game, awesome game to watch. Awesome. You'll want to watch it. Tampa Bay plays Montreal, Boston, Detroit, New York, and then Montreal has Tampa, Columbus, the Islanders, and Philly. So all 4 teams who are either in a playoff spot or right in the running for a playoff spot. So Montreal definitely has the harder schedule of those 3 teams. And I probably would agree with Rupper. Like, I might like Buffalo and Tampa Bay makeup. Now, Montreal's red hot, but it's a regular season. And we all know playoffs are different. That's what makes it awesome. Frustrating, but awesome. Some other stats. Now, I was telling you about it. The Toronto Blue Jays. Hey, Brendan Little had to go down to the minors. There's no debating that. But you look at the Blue Jays, and I was kind of surprised how many people, Bo Bichette. I'm like, well, all Bo Bichette does is lead the league in hits, right? For the last 2 seasons. And you look at right now in RBIs in the major leagues of baseball, the Blue Jays have 37 RBIs through 12 games. And they got off to a good start. Like, they can't score to save their life lately. Right? Like, they have those 37 runs early on. But if you look at their offense lately, well, like, they got 1 run again today. Yesterday it was 14-2 on Monday. It was 4-1 yesterday. Like, they can barely muster up 2 runs a game right now. So you can get upset about, Brandon Little. Yeah, sure. And their defense, like Heineman, oh my God, he had a stretch that was terrible. Just overthrowing guys brutally, bad base running. Like, the Jays right now, and it's the thing about baseball is different is they've got 150 games left. Like, they have a lot of time, but they've also got a lot of guys who had career years last year. Bo Bichette's gone. Who'd they replace his bat with? Like, is Okamoto Connor Halley? Like, he's not going to lead the league in hits. He's just not. So, and the thing about Bo had an okay amount of home runs. But, man, would he lead the league in doubles over the last 2 years? Like, extra base hits matter a lot. And right now, the Jays they don't have any. It's not a surprise to me. You look at where they are in doubles. Only the White Sox and the Reds. So the White Sox and the Reds, and the Jays couldn't even beat the White Sox. Their offense right now is beyond anemic, Connor Halley. It's painful to watch.
Yeah. And kind of maybe how the narrative changes when they won 2 or 3 against the Athletics in extra innings. We thought they're finding ways to win. Now I'm like, maybe they were just barely getting by. Like, maybe this wasn't a positive trait. Maybe this was a warning of things to come that they're going to have to claw and scrape for every little bit of offense they get. So, yeah, it certainly hasn't been really good. And, going against the arms you're going to see against the Dodgers, that's not going to really help it. Maybe you need a series in Colorado to try to fire up the bats or something like that. But, yeah, it certainly has not been what I'd expected from this team to start the season. Plus, you mix in the injuries. That's never going to help either.
Yeah. It's ugly to look at. The Oilers, what's ugly to look at is their defensive play again. Remember, look at their goals last night, because we've got texts in all again. The Oilers, they're missing Draisaitl, Hyman. No, they're not. They're not. They're missing Draisaitl on the power play. Valid. There's no debate. Like, you need McDavid to go end to end by himself to score in the power play right now. Their power play does not look good without him, and they gave up a shorthanded goal, which was brutal. But look at the goals last night. Curtis Lazar. It's a 1-0 game, and they score what? On the ensuing shift. What was it? 11 seconds after? They came right back, and that was a nice play from Ekholm up to Henrique, right to Lazar. Lazar scores in the game. Then a power play goal. Then you get your Nugent-Hopkins line scores a goal. All right, that's pretty good. Then Podkolzin, 5-on-5, scores a goal. And then your third line, Doc from Frederick and Dickinson. So every line scored a goal 5-on-5. If you're scoring 4 goals a game 5-on-5, it's not the issue. That's not the issue. The issue is the Oilers as a group do not hold each other accountable to a respected level of defensive hockey and a commitment to a willingness to defend, a willingness to make smart decisions with the puck, manage the puck properly. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day for this team, no one should ever mention offense as the problem. It's not the problem. And you're not paying attention to the team, frankly, if you think it's a problem. Right? The Oilers are a top 5 scoring team. They were a top 5 scoring team before Draisaitl was injured. They're a top 5 scoring team without Draisaitl. And now Hyman's out. They can score. The problem is the Edmonton Oilers are a team that has got the 6th highest goals against in the National Hockey League. They're 27th. Okay? It's just that simple. And goaltending's a part of it, but it's not the only part. If you're saying it's only Tristan Jarry again, you're not watching the game last night. Like Roslovic, Dickinson, Ekholm, Bouchard. Look at some of the gas that led directly to goals. It's the boys' penalty. Like, you can't take that penalty. So, not good. When we come back, one of the greatest annual sports events is upon us. We'll discuss it on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lotteries, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell. And we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me. GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents stop pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a deal from Legacy. Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Cantork has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notaloneco.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Your all-access pass to the world of sports is Edmonton's only sports radio station.
From pre- and post-game hockey shows to in-depth analysis from your favorite commentators, the action never stops on Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent and non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2:49, we continue on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you're having a lovely day. It is game day. Oilers in San Jose to take on the Sharks tonight. Of course, they are on the West Coast, so that means a little bit later of a start. Expect puck drop around 8:15, 8:20 tonight against the San Jose Sharks. Connor Ingram will start in goal. As we get to our golf report, PGA report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace or AC unit. Bundle them together, save even more at legacyheating.ca. As we go out to Augusta, where Adam Scully from Golf Talk Canada joins us. And Adam, of course, par 3 today. And I know historically it doesn't mean much. So, I'm not even sure we'll talk about that. But the bigger story is kind of, going into this, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, where do you think they're at?
I mean, first of all, for Rory McIlroy, it seems like he's playing with a lot of freedom this week, right? I mean, heading into this tournament, since he won the third leg of the career Grand Slam back in 2014, he had all the pressure on him to see if he could finally complete the career Grand Slam. And he spoke on Tuesday during his press conference that he was feeling relaxed. He was ready to go. And he was kind of funny during his press conference too, which is great. And now that the Champions Dinner is behind him, wish I was a fly on the wall for that one. And someone who could eat at that meal too, because it looked really good. And the wine seemed delicious as well, obviously. It seems like Rory is in a really good place. As for Scotty Scheffler, obviously a bunch of his stats this year are a little skewed to what they've been in the past. 92nd in strokes gained approach right now. And for the season on the PGA Tour, in the past 3 seasons, I should say, he's been first the last 3 years in that same category. But he does have a win already this season. So Scotty Scheffler still should be the favorite. But I would be very surprised if both of these guys weren't a major part of this movie come Sunday afternoon.
We know Augusta, and, the course, who it plays better for sometimes, it's a little bit different. That's kind of what makes it so unique. So, guys coming in hot have a tendency to match up. I do want to get your thoughts on Corey Connors, who has always done well on, Thursday and Friday. His weekends at Augusta have really been the issue.
Yeah, you could definitely say that. I mean, to have 4 top 10s in the last 6 years at the Masters is really good, regardless of who the player is. But for Corey, his bread and butter is his approach game. He has always been one of the best iron players on the PGA Tour, and he is that again this season. However, the short game is his make or break. 106 in strokes gained around the green, 138 in strokes gained putting. Last year, he was in the second to last group on Sunday afternoon and had a putt of about 1.5 foot of the absolute most on the first hole and didn't hit the hole and made bogey. And that was sort of the downfall of Corey Connors. Now, historically speaking, we have seen some average putters win here in the past. I'm thinking of Sergio Garcia back in 2017, Hideki Matsuyama in 2021. Connors has said that he's very comfortable on this golf course. And I think if he is going to win, whether it's this week or the Masters in the future, it might be posting a number early on a Sunday and waiting for guys to come back and catch him. But at Augusta National, that rarely happens.
No, not really. Scotty Scheffler is the guy he was on such a heater last year. And when he's on, he's dominant. There's no debate about that. Like he needs to kind of have an off week right now, it would seem, for guys to be able to beat him. Are there other guys that you look at right now that you feel their game puts them as an automatic top 10, top 5 finisher?
Ooh, an automatic top 10, top 5. The player that I'd focus on the most for that would be Xander Schauffele, given how he has played not only this season, where his last 2 starts are T4 and T3, but he also has 3 straight top 10s here at the Masters. So he has played well, and he has won 2 majors before in his career. And Schauffele has also been incredibly consistent at major championships too. If you look at these stats in the last 4 years, 2 wins, 8 top 10s, just 2 finishes outside the top 20 in major championships. So he'd be one name. Another guy I'm really focusing on is Ludwig Oberg, making his 3rd Master start this week. Came second the first time around, 7th last year, and that 7th place finish came with a triple bogey finish. So if it wasn't for those 2 final holes, he could have been a part of the playoff with Rory and Justin Rose last year. So aside from Scotty and Rory, I really like Ludwig Oberg and Xander Schauffele.
Okay, yeah, Schauffele's always the guy who's around. What about Nick Taylor?
Absolutely. So Nick Taylor has had a really curious major record. His best major finished T23 last year at the U.S. Open. So he hasn't played great at majors. And this season, he's been solid, 5 top 30 finishes, but he does have 5 career PGA Tour wins. We made the joke on our show, Golf Talk Canada, this morning with Bob Weeks and Mark Zecchino, that if you could morph Corey Connors and Nick Taylor into one golfer, it might be unstoppable to have a really good putter and a really good approach player. So at some point, Nick Taylor is going to break out and contend in a major championship. He has been solid this season. He's got to put 4 rounds together, and had a chance to speak with him a little bit last night. He's very comfortable with this game right now. So I'd say look out for Nick Taylor this week too.
John Rahm, DeChambeau are obviously guys whose names, if you look at the odds, they're right up there for certain. And I get all that. But like DeChambeau he's never seemed to be able to put it together. When you look at all the nuances of his game and you're like, God, this guy should win more than he has. Why do you think he doesn't?
I think sometimes he gets in his own way a little bit and overanalyzes the nth degree of every club in his bag, every loft, every lie, that sort of thing. And even last year, he was in that final pairing with Rory McIlroy and only hit 9 of the 18 greens in regulation. And he was hitting his driver well for the most part, but it was his iron game that he was hitting it mostly left and missing it left of many greens, hit it into the water twice during that final round too. He does have a pretty good major record in the last couple of years. The win back at 2024 in the U.S. Open, 5 other top 10 finishes at majors, T5, T6 in his last two Masters. And the putting, sure, it can look a little awkward, the arm bar and the way he's very stiff as he takes it back and takes it through. And many winners here at Augusta are very touchy-feely putters. I mean, the course is tailor-made, set up for him to bomb it just about anywhere. And if his wedges are good, I mean, he's won his last two starts on Live Golf. Say what you will about Live, but a win is a win. He's playing with a lot of confidence right now. Plus, he had Kevin Hart caddying for him today at the par 3 contest, which is a bizarre world lately. But I mean, for Bryson, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a move here come Sunday afternoon.
Was there anybody else of note caddying?
Other than children of players, I don't believe so. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's fair. I was just kind of curious. So Kevin Hart was he was the only special guy out there. You mentioned Liv. What do you make of Liv and kind of the direction you think it's going from where it was when it started?
It's such a fascinating thing. You look at Live golf tournaments that are in the U.S. and there's nobody there and television ratings are not good. And then you look at Live events in Australia and most recently South Africa, and it looks like a rock concert. There are many, many thousands of people there chanting the winner's name. When Bryson won a couple of weeks back in South Africa, it was pretty wild to see what the atmosphere was like. So they've got a couple markets here. It's just not working in the U.S. It's certainly not working in Canada. And given how Brooks Koepka wanted to leave, the PGA Tour gave the option for John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau to pay a hefty fine and come back and play, and Cameron Smith for that matter. They chose to say no. So it's going to remain to be a fascinating couple of years here. I don't really see it fully going away anytime in the next 2 to 3 years for sure.
Okay. Lastly, just overall in golf, how much do you think the Tiger Woods story impacts golf at all at this point?
Oh, that's such a good question. In terms of the buzz at Augusta National, when I was here a couple of years back, the last time Tiger played in the Masters in 2024, there was just this absolute aura around him. And there always is. And honestly, there probably always will be, just given who he is, the superpowers that he has on the golf course. And the fact that he's not here this week, let's hope he's getting the help he needs and reportedly in Switzerland right now, getting some treatment. And all of these players growing up spoken at length about looking up to Tiger and wanting to compete against Tiger. And many of them did get to compete against Tiger. And who knows, maybe they will continue to compete against him next year at some point. It's too bad the way it's unfolded, but nowadays there's a new era, a new crop of players who are dominating the headlines right now, which makes this year's Masters pretty wide open, which is going to be fascinating to cover all week.
Who are you picking to win?
My pick to win, I've said this on our show multiple times. I'm going to say Xander Schauffele. He is my pick to win. Ludwig Oberg is my second pick. And my long shot make or break Cooley play, if you will, is Adam Scott, who won here back in 2013. He's had really good approach numbers this year, top 20 in 2 majors last year. So that pick might either win or make you lose your pool pretty quickly, but those are my picks for the week.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy it. And how's the weather look, Adam? Is it going to be good?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be good. Today it was a little breezy, about 20 Celsius in the sun. I walked around the second 9 this afternoon, and definitely you could have used a pullover for some. But throughout the weekend, it's going to be warm, and it's not going to be that windy. It's going to be a good one.
Awesome, Adam. We'll enjoy it, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anytime.
There you go. That's Adam Scully from Golf Talk Canada. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Go Auto. Cars, trucks, and SUVs. If you're looking for a vehicle, any size, any color, any brand, they have over 15,000 to choose from. GoAuto.ca.
This The Sports 1440 update.
It's game day. Oilers and Sharks down in San Jose. Puck drop just after 8. Pre-game coverage coming your way with Andrew Walker at 6. Elsewhere, 2 games tonight. Sabres and Rangers meeting in New York, and the Leafs will host the Capitals just after 5:30. Major League Baseball, Jays in action heading into the 7th. They trailed the Dodgers 2-1. We've also got the Orioles on top of the White Sox 5-3. The Astros behind the Rockies 7-1, and the Cards up on the Nationals 2-1. Earlier today, Guardians beating up on the Royals 10-2. Red Sox blank beat Brewers 5-0. And it was the Rangers over the Mariners 3-0. In the association this evening, Suns taking on the Mavs, Thunders in LA for a matchup with the Clippers. You got the Pistons and the Bucks, Timberwolves in Orlando, and the Cavs taking in the Hawks. BCHL, the Saints looking to stay alive as they host Brooks down 3-0, while the Crusaders will try to take a 3-1 series lead over Blackfalds. 7 o'clock puck drop for both of those. In the AJ second round action, Canmore can complete the sweep over Drum. Heller will the Storm host the Wolverines, currently leading 2-1. In the PWHL, Ottawa hosting Seattle at 5. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to the stat of the day, ask 5 questions, and hear from Tyler Yaremchuk of Oilers Nation. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
For the first time in 66 years, Golden Bears and Pandas hockey are on the move. During the 2026-27 Canada West season, 2 of the most successful hockey programs in U Sports history will call Silent Ice Center in Nisku their temporary home. The Golden Bears and Pandas are excited to connect with the South Edmonton community and welcome new fans to experience the tradition and excitement of U of A hockey. Same tradition, new temporary home. Golden Bears and Pandas hockey at Silent Ice Center for the 26-27 season.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back, your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off. Let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's after 3 o'clock. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. We got lots to discuss. The Oilers, we'll hear from Coach Knobloch. Well, not overly excited after last night's game. It was giveaway around all over the ice. You go back and you watch the goals and you're just kind of like, what the hell was going on? Like, just maybe the first one, and even that one, there was a giveaway right before it that it kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit and wonder just how a team who has proven they can play good defensively just decide that, we're not going to play good defensively. It is, it's wild to me. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. Could always get the Jason Gregor Show Oz Boost special. We got a few tonight, of course, with McDavid and Celebrini going head to head. Oilers and the Sharks. Are we going to see some goals tonight? Maybe. So check it out at PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Ingram will start in goal. That's a change. Will Josh Szymanski get in? I don't know. I guess he could. I'm just not sure. Like, who are you going to take out? Your bottom two lines actually weren't that bad in the game last night. So if he comes down to he doesn't want to have a young player sit out too many games, I get it. Colton Dock comes in, scores his first goal as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Thought played overall pretty decent. Like Jones, I guess if you wanted, you could probably take Jones out, right? Lazar played .751, wasn't a minus player, scored a goal. I don't know, Cons, is there anyone you would take out for Szymanski?
I wouldn't feel like I had to. Like, despite the loss, as you mentioned, the bottom six played pretty good. They got goals. That's all you can ask for. I don't think so right now. I think I'd probably try to keep it together here. I get that it's back to back, but I don't think there's anyone that you're like, oh, we need to give this guy a night off. Yeah. It's not really a thing. So no, for me, I think I'd probably just keep it rolling with this group. But I do like the competition in the bottom six, Gregor, and I am intrigued. When you get Hyman and Draisaitl back going towards the playoffs, who ends up playing in your bottom six? And I think that's a good problem to have. A guy, whoever gets out there should be feisty, hungry, ready to go.
Now, when I was gone, did I see someone? Did the coach say that it's not a guarantee that Draisaitl will be ready? Did Knobloch say that?
I don't know if we officially heard that.
Well, okay. So he was never on record saying that he wouldn't be ready to start for the playoffs.
Not that I heard. I don't think we would have missed it. But there was a lot of people texting in saying they've heard those sort of things, but I didn't see it from Knobloch.
Oh, okay. And I know I saw that obviously Hyman thinks that maybe he'll play a game next week or not. If it was playoffs, he would be ready to play, which is understandable. Guys do play through some injuries that they normally wouldn't in the regular season. They play that way in the playoffs. The problem with that is, yes, the guy can play. How effective can he be when he plays? Right? That's why I always say the one wild card when you get to the postseason for any team is the health wild card. And the health, now, obviously good teams get to the Stanley Cup final. But when you get to the Cup final, if one team is more banged up than the other, that's a big disadvantage because you're talking two good teams. It's not like, okay, we're in the first round and we're number one seed and we're missing our best player, but we're taking on number 8 and the rest of our team still, we think we have the depth to overcome it. usually, not always, but usually you get to the Stanley Cup final, you're playing another really good team. And now if you're down one or two key players, it's really hard to make that up against another equally good team. And so for Edmonton, now the way they're playing this year, they probably don't have the luxury of saying we could beat fill in the blank, Anaheim, Vegas, LA, Nashville, whoever. Well, I guess they can't play Nashville. There's no chance. So Utah, right? We feel we can beat them even if we give Hyman more rest or if we give Draisaitl more rest. Now, you'd hope to be able to do it and that's where you probably have to weigh that option. Because if you want to win the Stanley Cup, I understand that you have to get there first. And that's the balancing act. Can they get there first without them? Because you'd like them there healthy in the Cup final. We've seen it the last few years. You're a little bit banged up. You're not as good. Didn't have Hyman last year. I'm not saying they would have beat Florida. But if Hyman and Ekholm are healthy, I think they probably play better than they did. Might not have been good enough to win. I'll never know. I can't say for sure they'd win. To me, that would be somewhat naive. But would they have been better? Yeah, very likely. So, hey, guys, he said Draisaitl's maybe ready for game one. Okay, maybe. So,
how much stock do you put into what we hear? Because wasn't last year Ekholm was sick for a while? And especially going into the playoffs, the way things are. I just don't know how much stock you can put into what he says right now. And not just Chris Knobloch specifically, but, they're keeping these things close to the vest right now. So, I don't know. For me, it's hard to interpret necessarily what they mean by these things. Wait and see, I suppose. But, yeah, nothing guaranteed.
Hey, boys, what about Roslovic? He was a giveaway machine last night. Would you give him a night off? Probably not. That really hasn't been something we've said a lot of for Jack Roslovic. That, okay, this is a guy, he's been giving a puck away a lot. Yeah, the pass on the power play, yeah, it hit his skate. But if you're going to make that pass at that point, you got to connect the pass because otherwise it leads to the odd man rush to break away the other way. It wasn't really an odd man rush, but you know what I mean. But I don't think I would take Jack Roslovic out because that's really hasn't been a regular occurrence for him. So I would be surprised if that occurred. So you need your top pair of defense has to play better. There's no doubt in my mind. Right? You look at, there's another game where Nurse and Murphy played well again last night. In a game where you gave up 6 goals, Nurse is +2, Murphy's +1. They played the most minutes in the game. It's another solid game for them. You need, last night, their top pair wasn't good. Wasn't good. Right? The Roslovic, Nugent Hopkins line wasn't good. So they will need to be better tonight. And if I know anything about the Oilers, they can be very inconsistent. They can look terrible one game, and then the next night they're like, oh, you know what, guys? All right. We're gonna bear down tonight, and we're gonna be sound defensively, because that's kind of what they do, and they've done that for a fair amount this year more than last year. Last year's regular season team, they were much more consistently competitive. They haven't been that consistently competitive this year. There's no arguing that. But would I be that surprised if the Oilers going to San Jose tonight and play better defensively? Because it's going to be harder. Right? Last night, they had multiple glaring giveaways. Look at the goals that they allowed last night, and look at how many of them were just egregious not just little, but I'm talking egregious giveaways. And that's the problem for this team, is their ability to be Jekyll and Hyde is amazing. Guys, nobody needs a night off. Everybody had 3 weeks off except from 29 to 97. It's very true, Kyle. I totally agree with you. Now, the reason we asked is coach usually will play guys like a Szymanski. He doesn't like him sitting out back-to-back games. So that's why I was saying I could see Szymanski, not even because somebody deserves to come out, it's more so because usually, not always, because I don't think Spencer Stashny is going to get in the lineup tonight. I could be wrong, but I don't think he will. But for the most part, Knobloch likes to keep guys in a rotation a little bit. And, Doc just got back in the lineup, scores a goal. I just can't see how he's coming out. So I think it's probably going to be one of Jones or Lazar. And Jones played the fewest minutes last night. I could see it being him, and they bring Szymanski. And just because it's not like Szymanski had done anything that would warrant him sitting out back-to-back games. So it's not even because someone necessarily played poorly. I just think they're going to make a change. But, hey, Greg, your comment about first place I hadn't really thought of. It illustrates that the Oilers don't really seem to care that much about the regular season. And here's and I could be totally wrong in this, but this is how I view it. I view it as somewhat arrogant to suggest that it doesn't matter if you get home ice. It doesn't matter where you finish. I get the theory because just because you finish first doesn't guarantee you success. So I understand that. But I also have years and years of data showing that home ice advantage is an advantage in the playoffs, especially later on. So to suggest that it doesn't matter, I find it somewhat arrogant. And it's almost like, well, we're okay with not wanting to play the right way in the regular season all the time. We're okay with that because we feel that when we get to the playoffs, we will play the right way. And maybe they will. But if they don't get out of the first two rounds this year, when you look at the competition that they're playing, and they end up, let's say they play a game 7 on the road that you could have had at home if you just would have played a little bit more consistent, that's going to be a big issue for me. Because I just don't like that viewpoint of, because at the end of the day, and I know they haven't won anything. They've come very close. They've won the Western Conference 2 years in a row. Great. But that's never been their goal. We want to be Western Conference champions. It was never their goal. I never heard anybody say that's their goal. Now, and obviously to win the Stanley Cup, it has to be part of the process. So I understand that. But my point is there's more that this team needs to do on a consistent night before I can look and say, hey, I think this is a team that can go all the way. Because if they haven't eliminated that bad habit from their game, when is it going to creep in? When is it suddenly just come back in? Because are you going to guarantee me they could go down 2-0 in the first round this year and the opposing team wouldn't get a crucial clearing attempt that would lead to put them up significantly in the series? Because make no mistake, Byfield's terrible clearing attempt changes here. Not to mention the goalie challenge on the Evander Kane goal, goalie interference. Terrible call. So they got some big breaks. Can't rely on that every year. So we'll see how they do. When we return, Tyler Remchuk joins us. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At GS Construction, we're multitaskers. We've got lots of projects going on all around Edmonton and area. Different teams across the city working towards the same outcome. Installing today what will serve generations to come. It's a rewarding career and the work never stops. That's why GS Construction is always on the lookout for great people to join us. Right now, we're looking for experienced topmen, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. So if you want to feel valued, empowered, and engaged in your work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value for a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Spring into savings at The Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals. And buy more, save more. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game and save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 15% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
You probably know Stingray for radio advertising.
What about digital advertising?
Yeah, we do that.
Connected TV?
We do that.
Search and social?
And that.
Programmatic? Digital out of home?
We do it all. Endless digital platforms to connect your business to more customers, to intrigue them, engage them, so they choose your product or service. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com and let us help your business grow. We are Stingray. That's what we do.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Carius to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. For a limited time, get your favorite large specialty pizza from Papa John's for only $19.99. Use code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
My God, it can happen. It just happened. An extra base hit with a runner in scoring position. Oh my God, I almost fainted. I almost fell off my chair. It just happened. George Springer had runners on first and second, hit a double, and the Jays are within 1 run. So maybe, just maybe, they could get multiple hits with runners in scoring position. They were like 5 for 44 prior to that. Second worst in MLB, only the Reds, because the Reds are brutal offensively right now. But who knows? Maybe that is the spark that the offense needs. We'll see. For the Toronto Blue Jays, who are trying to at least get 1 out of the 3 games against the LA Dodgers, and has not been a great start for the Jays. In a lot of areas, offense isn't good. Defense hasn't been good. Now, pitching, there's a little bit of an asterisk because they've had so many injuries there. Obviously, Little was terrible. But there's been not a lot of great things. Gosman's been good. Cease has been pretty good. They're not a whole bunch, but oh my God, what is happening? 2 in a row, 2 hits with runners in scoring position. It's amazing. The Jays can actually do it. So there you go. Hey, Oilers fans. Hey, maybe the Oilers will play defense like the Jays are hitting with runners in scoring position suddenly. The difference is Edmonton's actually done that this year. They just can't help themselves. Just when they start to play good defensively, no. It's too much. It's too much. We gotta play Santa Claus again. They can't help themselves. They're a giving group. They care. They want to give the other teams opportunities. So it's like they maybe the Easter Bunny didn't arrive at their house on time. They decided they were going to be the Easter Bunnies. They gave away some gifts last night, buddy. Similar color of chocolate. That's how you describe some of those giveaways for sure for the Oilers. As let's go in the room now, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action on your savings from one of the most diversified electrical contractors in the province. 53 years. They just keep growing and expanding. And as they grow and expand, they still stick to the most great company. That's actionelectrical.net. As Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff joins us now. And Ty, will get to the Jays in a second. But the Edmonton Oilers, like I said it off the top of my show, this is just who the Oilers are. And until their core group decides that these type of games are unacceptable and these type of individual plays are unacceptable, it's not going to change. Like, you can keep wanting to get rid of the goalie. You can keep firing the coach. You can keep firing the manager. The core has been here. And throughout all of it, these games with these egregious giveaways occur, and there doesn't ever seem to be much recourse for it.
It's kind of part of the reason why early in the season, and we heard Ekholm say it, I think it was in October, and it's been a bit of a theme throughout the year where we've heard them say, we as a group, we know when we need to turn it on, right? Oh, we've played a lot of hockey over the last few years. We know when to turn it on. And that kind of drove me nuts because it's like, that leads me to think that there's not a lot of accountability for what you're doing for the first 82 here. And it's a really, really dangerous game to play if you're going to go throughout the year, have nights like you did last night and just kind of shrug and say, well, we know when to turn it on, because it's not as easy as just flipping a switch. So yeah, last night, like, it can't happen. 81 shot attempts, 43 scoring chances, according to Natural Stat Trick, is what Utah got in that game. And a bunch of them were high quality scoring chances. Like, Bouchard probably had his worst game in a few months. And listen, guys are allowed to have bad games, but it just doesn't change the fact that if they play the way they did last night in the playoffs, they're not going any deeper than round one.
Well, here's the thing. There's no team in round one that I look and say, wow, like Vegas consistent, Utah consistent, Anaheim consistent. That's the thing about the Oilers. That's their advantage right now. There's not a whole bunch of consistency. Now, if they don't have Hyman and you don't have Draisaitl, well, that obviously changes a lot of the equation for me. But again, offense isn't this team's problem. I've said it for years. When people they're scoring depth, they don't need more scoring depth. Somebody should be fired or get an electrical shock the next time they go on their podcast, the next time they write an article that the Oilers depth players aren't doing enough offensively, because it's irrelevant. That's not what costs this team ever. It's a lack of defensive structure and commitment. Not even structure, commitment, that time and time again is the problem.
Yeah, which is why I love that behind the scenes video that was kind of going around of the front office kind of all talking about acquiring Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach. And they talked about how Jason Dickinson is a pro. He takes pride. Bowman even kind of had a line about like the fit of this guy. We don't need more scorers. And so far, like, yeah, Jason Dickinson has 1 goal or whatever since joining the Oilers. But even though he, quote, only, I'll use air quotes around only, has 1 goal, I'm still sitting here going, that was a great addition, because what he's done to the team and their ability to have a line in the bottom 6 that can go out there and make an impact and play a role that isn't directly tied to the box score. So last night, I really liked that line of Frederick, Dach, and Dickinson. Their metrics were good. The eye test was good. They play with a little bit of jam. And that is a line that over a 7-game series, Greg's, can sit and make an impact, even if they don't find the score sheet. And in the past few years, that is something the Oilers missed.
Oh, yeah. Now, of course, you want your depth guys to score. I'm not sitting here and saying depth guys never have to score, but it's not. It's something that they figured out, and ever since coming out of the Olympic break, there's been no issue with depth scoring for the Edmonton Oilers. Like absolutely none, right? Like Matthias Janmark came out of the lineup, and that was good because he couldn't score to save his life. Yeah, he had his playing with a shoulder injury. Still, they kept playing him, and he couldn't score. But I look at the Oilers tonight against the Sharks, and Knobloch usually doesn't like guys to sit out back-to-back, at least for the forward group anyway. And Josh Szymanski, young player, who I don't think has played and done anything that would suggest he'd have to sit out back-to-back. So do you think Knobloch will switch him for one of the forwards tonight?
I think so. I was listening to his post game. This was against maybe the Seattle game last week. I think it was the last time Curtis Lazar maybe sat, and Knobloch was asked about how difficult it was to pull out a guy like Curtis Lazar. And yeah, he talked about how he wanted to have a little bit of a rotation here. How they have a bunch of guys kind of fighting for those jobs that are all playing well. It's part of the reason why. Like I didn't have an issue. I know some people were kind of crying foul about it when Szymanski got taken out. I saw, some people, I shouldn't really paint the fan base or whatever with a broad brush, but it's like, oh, Henrique can have bad games and he stays in, but Szymanski has one bad game, he gets pulled out. And it's like, yeah, because he's a young player who's played 20 games in the NHL. He's already played more hockey this year than he ever did when he played overseas in the DEL. He was at the Olympics. He didn't even get a break there. Like, there's nothing wrong with when you have a bunch of guys who are playing well in your bottom six, looking at a young player like Szymanski and saying, hey, you had a rough game. We're going to let you watch one from up top. And then I also think the proper thing to do is to give him a chance to get right back in there. And listen, Max Jones is playing good. He doesn't deserve to get taken out of the lineup. Doc scored last night. He probably doesn't deserve to get taken out. Lazar scored. Like all these guys deserve to stay in the lineup. But I think there's something to be said about having a rotation so that when you get to April 19th or whenever the playoffs start and you get halfway through round one and someone blocks a shot and needs a day off, you're not pointing to Josh Szymanski and saying, hey, get in the lineup, even though you haven't played in 2 weeks. You're not pointing to a Lazar or whoever and saying, hey, jump into the middle of this playoff series, even though you haven't played hockey in 2 weeks. There's value in getting a bunch of guys going right now. So I would have Szymanski back in.
Now, you look at, I think Tristan Jarry will still play one game next week. Obviously, I think Connor Ingram is the guy to run with for the Edmonton Oilers. There's no discussion, I don't think, in my mind on that one. Do you think Jarry, in an off season, working with the goalie coach, is he salvageable for next year?
I think it kind of like, how do you view salvageable? Like, does he have to be their number one next year to be quote salvageable? Like if that's the question, I'd say no, because I don't see a path to him being like a true number one who's worth north of $5 million. Do I think he can be a good 1B for this team next year? I do. I think the duo of Ingram and Jarry, if they were to start with that next fall, I wouldn't be offended by it, especially if Ingram comes in at, what do you think, $3.5 million, and you're still spending less than $10 million on your goaltending in a year where the cap's now north of $100 million. Like, that's kind of all good for me. So I think Ingram and Jarry can be a fine duo next year. I think Jarry has it in him to be a good 1B. Last night, would you have liked one more save? Sure. Were there a couple that, bounced off? One of them, I think, hit a defenseman in front and went over his shoulder. The one shorthanded breakaway, that's a tough one. Like, you would have liked one more save somewhere. The Oilers still gave up north of 4 expected goals. I just said how many scoring chances Utah had. Like, sucks that he gave up the 6th one, but I'm not hanging that loss last night solely on Jarry. There's been a few games this year that have been absolute stinkers from the goaltending perspective. I'm not absolving him of his struggles either, but I think this is a guy who in a 1B role next year can be serviceable. He just won't be worth the cap hit, which is the unfortunate part of when you look back at that trade.
Yeah, no, that is, hey, you look at the deal, and the day it was made, I said, hey, you're trading a guy who makes twice as much, and I'm not sold he's going to be any better. And it's actually gone worse so far. I know that everything in Edmonton bases on what they do in the playoffs, and maybe there'll be some miracle playoff performance by him, but at this point, it's not looking like a smart deal. Now, the Murphy and Dickinson trades, I will agree with you. I think those have worked out quite well for them. And do you think Colton Dach, so if you look at the lineup last night, so there's Hyman and there's Draisaitl come in, 2 guys come out. Is it Lazar and Jones who come out? What do you think happens? Who are the 2 guys from last night who would come out in the playoffs?
I think it is Jones and Lazar. The only thing with Lazar, and Liam and I got into the numbers a little bit today, really good in the face-off circle. When you break it down and do like D-zone, O-zone splits, he wins more draws in the D-zone than anybody else on this team. In the D-zone, he's north of 60% in the dot. There might be value in having a right shot guy who is very, very reliable in the face-off circle in your lineup for a playoff game. But I also think it depends on how Chris Knobloch thinks he's going to be distributing his minutes. Because if you think you're going to go with a more balanced approach where maybe your fourth line is getting 11 minutes a game or something like that, then yeah, I think there's a case to pull Lazar out and put someone in there who can maybe give you a bit more for those 11 minutes. But if you think that fourth line's playing 6 or to 8 minutes a game, having Lazar play those 6 to 8 minutes and having him on the bench for when you need a big face-off win, whether it's on the PK or at the end of the game in a D zone, like there's value in that. But gun to my head right now, I think it's Jones and Lazar that come out just because I really liked the look of that third line yesterday. And I think they're a line that, like I said in the first point, like they can play with some identity and make an impact and be trusted. Sorry, make an impact not on the box score and be trusted. So yeah, like kind of giving you a fence sitting thing of like, depending on how the final 4 games go, I can change my opinion on it. Right now, I think it's Jones and Lazar that come out.
Looking at the rest of the West, and Anaheim is really in free fall mode right now. Vegas has one under Tortorella. They've beaten the teams you have to beat. They're not that good, but they've beaten them. Do you think Tortorella makes much of a difference? And are you a believer that the Ducks are just a young team that's going to be an easy first round matchup, regardless of who they face?
The Golden Knights thing is funny. 4-0 since Torts took over. And if you look at their 5-on-5 save percentage, it was dead last in the NHL under Cassidy. And now I think it's third in the league in the short sample under John Tortorella. So did Tortorella walk in the room and tell the goalies to start making some saves, or what happened there? But it is funny how goaltending can kind of goaltending's gotten a lot of coaches fired in over the history of the NHL. And this might be another one of those examples. I still don't really like Vegas all that much. Maybe this Tortorella thing gives them a spark, but we've kind of seen that spark can die off a lot of times. So Vegas, I think they're a good but not great team. Anaheim's maybe showing right now their inexperience a little bit. I wouldn't be all that scared, or whatever word you want to use, about going up against them in the playoffs. And with this free fall right now, like especially when you look at the strength of schedule, Vegas has a pretty easy schedule here, but you hold LA and Anaheim schedules up to each other. And if LA wins their game in hand, they're only 2 back of the Anaheim Ducks. It's are we going to go through, Greg's, this whole season where, there's talk in Edmonton, fire the okay, we got to trade the goalie, trade for the LA's fire, and then it's just LA Edmonton round 1, and it's like, maybe we could just skip the full 82 next year and just let the Oilers and Kings meet in round 1.
Oh man, that would be wild, wouldn't it not?
Insane.
It's almost like, please, anything but. At this point, Utah, Anaheim, Vegas, like those are all possibilities, right? And they are probably more likely, but still, the Ducks do have to find some way to get a win here at some point, just to stop the bleeding a little bit in the free fall mode for them from the Kings. But yeah, it would be, God, that would almost make it even more frustrating. Because at the end of the day, they have to face the Kings for a 5th consecutive year. Like, just, I don't know, like the Kings are not, even though I know there's, like, it's funny for a team that's played 4 years in a row, there's not a lot of animosity amongst the two teams, like physical animosity. There isn't.
What was the Drew Doughty line? Like, it's not a rivalry. They kick our behinds every year, which is kind of true. And I mean, if you want to talk about a potential gravy matchup for the Oilers, I'm not a believer at all in the LA Kings. There's only 2 teams in the NHL this year who've won fewer than 20 games in regulation, and the Kings are one of them. It's the Kings and the Canucks. Like, that's absolutely bananas that they've won 19 games in regulation this year and are in a playoff spot. They've won 32 games on the year. That's the same amount of wins as the Calgary Flames have on the season. And again, LA, thanks to the loser point, has found themselves in a playoff spot and might find themselves 3rd in the Pacific.
No, that is that's kind of wild for sure. Going to the Jays, and I was talking about, hey, they got 2 hits with runners in scoring position, yay, but then they had bases loaded with 1 out, and they can't manufacture a run because they can't get the ball out of the infield. And it has been unbelievable how lethargic their bats are right now.
It's painful to watch. Like you mentioned that one today, game one of the series in the most winnable game of this series against the Dodgers, where they got Justin Wrobelski on the mound. They had bases loaded in the first inning. They don't cash in on that, and then they basically don't get anything for the rest of the ball game and get smoked. You go back to that series against the White Sox so many times, runner on second, one out, runner on second, nobody out, and they can't find a way to do it. And what's so surprising is that this is a team last year that thrived in those scenarios. They'd pick up the little dink, 1 run in the second, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the third, or 1 in the fifth, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're up 5-1, and then their bullpen took over and they'd win the ball game. Like, it's just so uncharacteristic when you compare it to what we saw for long stretches last year, which is kind of part of the reason why I don't want to panic all that much when it comes to the Jays. Like, so early in the season, people forget they were under 500 for the bulk of the first 6 weeks last year. So last year they were a better team for the majority of the season. This is so uncharacteristic that I think it's just one of those slumps where, like, if this happens in June, no one bats an eye and they just shrug and say, bats got cold for a while, because it's happening at the start of the year. It's a bigger issue. But I don't know, it's 3-3 right now. Maybe they can sneak out a win here and climb a little closer back to 500 and get this thing back on track.
Well, all I know is, man, I just look at their lineup, and like Bo Bichette, all he did was hit the ball.
Yeah.
That's all he did, man. Like, you can see, he made some defensive errors, no doubt about it. But man, like a consistent 200 hit guy, all right, lead the league in hits every year, and usually lead the league in doubles every year. Like, they just don't have that guy, right? Like, I don't like. Okamoto, I think, could be an okay hitter. I don't think he's suddenly going to be a big basher, right? Barger last year, I was like, okay, maybe, but not showing any signs of it. That's, to me, the problem for the Jays is they need a lot of guys. And Vladdy's got to start hitting. Like, Vladdy didn't hit many home runs last year, and he's got 1 home run this year. 1. Like, that's just, you can't be on pace for 15 freaking home runs.
No, you can't. And again, with George Springer, like, he hit 36 bombs last year. At his age, you can't pencil him in for 36.
No.
So you knew guys were going to have to pick up that slack throughout. And I think, again, to your point on Bichette, again, sucks they lost him, and health and all those things. Like, I wasn't a big fan. I think the Mets actually gave him what I'd call a bad contract, but he's still a good player. And you look at the way they have to construct their lineup every night right now, where it's like, all right, one night it's Davis Schneider in the 2-hole, then it's Nathan Lucas in the 2-hole. The last 2 games, it's been Dalton Varsho. He's been putrid to start the year, and it's a contract year for him. I had higher hopes for Varsho coming into this season, but like, that second hole in your lineup, I'm kind of at the point where, and I said this last year in the World Series, so this isn't a fresh take from me, I would have Vladdy hitting second right behind George Springer. I'm a big believer, as much as you want balance throughout your lineup, I like having my best hitters hit early, because that means my best hitters hit more often throughout the year. Vladdy being in the 3-hole versus the 2-hole, that might be an extra 5-6 at bats that come late in baseball games, and those are things that can change your season. So I'd move Vladdy up, and I'd construct things after going George Vladdy.
Lastly, I want to go back because we talked about the Kings of the Oilers play, and they're 4 points back the Ducks with the game in hand. The Sharks are 6 points back with 2 games in hand. One of them tonight against the Oilers, and then tomorrow night, guess who the Sharks play? The Anaheim Ducks. Are you a believer at all that the Sharks, who looked like they were in, then they lost 5 in a row, and a lot of people thought they're out, could they still be in?
They technically control their own fate. If they win their games in hand, which they have 2 over Nashville, 1 over LA, like you said, and then even the 2 over Anaheim. If they win their games in hand, they are the 8th seed in the Western Conference, which is just crazy. And I had JD Young from Locked On Sharks today on to talk about it. And he kind of said, like, as the year's gone on, some of these young guys in their lineup have started to really, really show some more signs of maturity. And the losing streak a couple weeks ago, as you alluded to, like, that looked like it was going to kill them. But I give this Sharks team full credit for finding a way to, battle back and not just wave the white flag and go, we're a young team. We weren't supposed to be here. That was fun. And we're kind of done. They've shown some incredible fights. So if I had to put money on it right now, their schedule is tough. So I don't think I would pick the San Jose Sharks to do it. Again, they got to go. They have Edmonton still, obviously tonight, yes, and then Anaheim, Nashville still. Winnipeg's a team that, even though they're out of the playoffs, they're not going to be an easy out. Like, they have some tough games on their schedule, so I'll say no. But just like my head says no, my heart, I would much rather see them go play Colorado than either one of Nashville or LA.
All right, we will. We'll see. Should be. It'll be interesting, man. Have yourself a great night watching the Oilers, and we'll see if the Jays can get a guy home from third base with 1 out. They have another opportunity again. See if they do it here in the what are they in the 8th inning. So dare to dream.
You're like 30 seconds ahead of me. So before I came on, when you were like extra base hit, I'm like still watching the early parts of that Springer at bat. I'm like, what's happening right now? So I'm very excited to see how this ends up working out with Jimenez. So yeah, go Jays.
One of the few guys who is batting quite well for the Jays. There you go. That's Tyler Yaremchuk from Motors Nation and Daily Face Off. Quick break. We'll come back. 5 questions on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lotteries, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meat, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Carius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Welcome to Silent Ice Center, the region's newest hockey and event center in Nisku. Featuring 2 NHL-size ice surfaces, premium seating, private suites, and an electric atmosphere. From elite hockey to major tournaments, concerts, and special events, this is where the action lives. And with Summit Restaurant overlooking the rink, every event is a full experience. Silent Ice Center, built for champions, built for the community. Book your ice, your event, or your next big night at Silent Ice Center. Email booking at silenticecenter.com.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
The Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars continues, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Yesterday, you heard stories from Stars VIPs, very important patients, and how Stars has made a difference in their lives. You also heard from members of the Stars team and other key contributors. Today, as the fundraising efforts continue, please donate and help keep Stars flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
Are you overwhelmed by debt and getting nonstop calls from creditors? It can feel like there's no escape. Debt doesn't have to be a life sentence. A single call can turn things around. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO right here in Edmonton. I can help you become debt-free with a solution just for you. Let's put an end to those calls from creditors together. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
As we all try to figure out when winter will actually stop and spring will finally be here for the season, GS Construction moves ahead with their plans for the year. From planning and digging to laying out underground infrastructure, construction season is limited, so we make every day count. And that's why GS Construction counts on our team to get the job done right. Crews are getting back in action across the city, and we'd like you to join us. We're looking for experienced top men, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Nice, and he had a chance and earlier, shot gets blocked, and then it's kind of how it works in hockey sometimes. All the injuries to the Oil Kings really caught up with them, no question. At that level, you don't have like a endless, you don't have a good minor league system, right? You're like basically you can call up, some 15-year-olds or stuff. So it's difficult. Too bad for them. They still got they'll have a lot of turnover, but they still should have a pretty decent squad next season. But probably not as. Not gonna. I'd be surprised if they finish as high as third. We'll see. But anyway, tough ending for the Edmonton Oil Kings. And hey, the Toronto Blue Jays got to run on third base. Got to run on first base. There's one out. What would you do? You've been struggling to score runs. Well, they try to get aggressive, and they send Jimenez, and Jimenez goes to steal second base, and the throw, second baseman can't handle it, rolls away. Schneider scores from third. No one gets an RBI, but the Jays get a run. And now they are leading, going into the ninth, and Hoffman coming in for the save. Can the Jays salvage and at least get one win in this three-game set against the defending champion LA Dodgers? We shall see. And we'll update you. Strike out for Hoffman, one down. Now, let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Furniture, mattresses, appliances, big screen TVs, you name it, they got it. Great prices. Shop now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1, game day. So let's get the Oilers Sharks prediction with a bold pick in there as well.
Would it be bold for me to say that the Oilers don't play Santa Claus tonight? But I can't even say that because I'm not that confident. I think there'll be goals tonight. I'll say 4-3. And bold prediction. How about Adam Henrique scores again?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to take the Oilers to fall in overtime. To be a little different, 5-4, even more goals. I wish I would have taken Tristan Jarry's assist yesterday. That would have been cool. Connor Ingram gets an assist tonight. That's my bold prediction. 2 games in a row. Question number 2 for you. In honor of the Sharks, give me your top 3 teams on the rise right now in the NHL.
Well, is Buffalo on the rise, or are they at the top now? Does that count?
Tied at the top, so
okay,
tough for that one.
Well, on the rise, but we're talking like who I think is going to be good for the next few years.
You could say,
yeah, I'm still going to go with the Sabres, right? I'm going to go with the Sabres, and I would go with Montreal, and I'll go with Anaheim. I like the Ducks.
All right, I like that pick as well. If you take those 3, I'll try to go elsewhere. Yeah, I'll take those Sharks. I think a team on the rise for sure. Is it a cop-out to take the Panthers because they're so bad this year? They can't be much worse. It's my own rule, so I'm going to say I can. And I'm going to take the Utah Mammoth. It sucks that division is so competitive, but I like some of the players on that Mammoth team, so I'll stick with them. Question number 3, scale of 1 to 10. I know the Jays are up right now, but what is your level of concern with this team and their start to the season?
Go ahead.
I'd probably put it at about a 4. I mean, there's things struggle to score runs. The injuries haven't helped, but at the same time, it's still quite early. They're going to have losing streaks. They're going to have winning streaks. So I'm sure at some point they're going to go on a bit of a run here and kind of figure out their game. So it's not overly concerned. I'll put it at a 4.
4. All right. Well, it's a long season, but I don't know, man. I'd put my concern a little bit higher. I would put it at a solid 6 for the Jays right now. It's not into the red yet, but there's only so many more injuries you can handle to your starting pitching rotation. That's eventually going to become a problem. So hopefully, Scherzer's not too long comes back in. But their bats, I know they got a few hits today. At some point, you got to start from ground zero again to work your way up. So maybe they're doing it. But like Vladdy last year in the regular season, didn't have great power numbers. Starting this year, doesn't have good power numbers. They don't really have a lot of other power guys in the lineup. So in today's baseball, small ball doesn't win a ton over the length of the regular season. So I would say my concern's a 6.
Question number 4. Who's your picks to finish top 3 at the Masters? Not 1 through 3, but top 3.
Well, Xander Schauffele never lets me down on my picks. So I'm going to have him. At some point, Corey Connor's top 10 is going to be a top 3. So I'm going to take Corey Connor. And I'll go with the easy one. I'll take Scheffler.
Yeah, I'll throw Scheffler in there as well. I hope Rory, hearing that he's kind of laid back, feeling good. I like that. And then I'll take Cameron Young to get into the top 3 as well. Final question for you. On this day in 2020, Modern Family wrapped up after 11 seasons. If you had to spend the weekend with one sitcom family, who would you pick?
Go ahead.
For me, it's quite easy. I'm going Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith was hilarious. Carlton would have been a little annoying, but, kind of funny. You have Ashley, which is great. And then, living in a mansion in Bel-Air would be pretty nice. Maybe get the pool house for the day. So I think that would be the easy pick for me.
It's a good question, man. I know the ones I definitely wouldn't want to. I find that's easier. He's just no, not interested in them whatsoever.
Which one comes to mind for not living in?
Oh, the Tanners. Beat it. The Barones. No, thanks. So I guess if I was going to go old school, do I just get one?
Just one, yes.
Oh, God. I might have to go with the Roses. Schitt's Creek.
You live in the motel?
Well, I did the motel. Every motel's got to have a bar somewhere. So I just think you'd have lots of laughs with the Roses for a lot of variety of different reasons. It would be pure comedy. So I'm going with the Roses. Yeah, like it. So like it a lot. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll update you. Connor will update you maybe in the update. Did the Jays win? Find out. Here on Sports 1440 Update, brought to you by Fountain Tire. Winter just keeps on coming. But put yourself in a good mindset. Visualize yourself in some spring tires. Plan ahead. Order them today, fountaintire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 Update.
Game day, Oilers Sharks down in San Jose. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock. Our pregame coverage with Andrew Walker, Donovan Paulson, and Landon Ferraro gets going at 6 right here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, Sabres in New York taking on the Rangers, and the Leafs hosting the Capitals in the majors. Jays in action right now. Top of the ninth, leading 4-3. Dodgers have runners on first and second, 2 outs. Elsewhere, Rockies lead the Astros 9-1. Phillies trail the Giants 5-0. The Cars have a 4-1 lead over the Nationals, and Diamondbacks up on the Mets by a score of 5-1. In the association, Hawks in Cleveland, the Pistons taking on the Bucks. Braves meet the Nuggets. Clippers up against the Thunder, and the Mavs head to the desert to take on the Suns. BCHL, the Saints work to stay alive tonight. They host Brooks. down 3 games to none, while the Crusaders will try and take a 3-1 series lead over Blackball. 7 o'clock puck drop. Both of those games in the AJ. Second round action. Canmore can complete the sweep over Drumheller, while the Storm host Wolverine, currently leading 2-1. PWHL has Ottawa taking on Seattle, and from Toronto, Jays just pick up the win. Coming up in hour 3, it's another edition of the Business of Sport. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Smart, connected, community driven. Jason Gregor sets the standard for sports talk in Edmonton. Join the conversation on Sports 1440. Text Gregor 833-401-1440. Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
A double
Jason Gregor
whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
On the rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
I know that you guys.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Jeff Brab and 118th.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Oodle Noodle Origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Happy hump day to you. And hey, the Jays victorious. Hoffman gets the save. The Jays get the win as a stolen base at second, and a bobble throw by the Dodgers allows Schneider to score from home base or from third base in the bottom of the eighth, and that leads to a Jays win. So the 6-game losing streak is over. They're now 5-7. So there you go. Now they got the Minnesota Twins up next, 3 games against the Twins. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game and try odds boosts, casino, live dealer, lottery, all in one place at PlayAlberta.ca. Check out the Gregor Show specials with some added odds boosts. Celebrating McDavid, are we going to see some points tonight? Pretty good chance, I think. Pretty good chance. As McDavid will look for his third 130-point season of his career. And there's not a lot of players who do that. He is 2 points shy of 130. He is 1 point up on Nikita Kucherov, 5 points up on McKinnon. So it's looking like it's McDavid and Kucherov for the Art Ross Trophy. Now, time for our business of sports as we welcome in Ritch Winter, a longtime player agent, but also was agent to TV and movie stars early in his career. As he was telling me during the break, he was asking me, like, who's the first guy I ever signed? And of course, I'm thinking sports guy. And like, no. As we were talking about Schitt's Creek, it was none other than the first contract you ever got for anybody was Eugene Levy in a music video.
Yeah, he was in he was going to be I believe it was 36 armed DJ from outer space in a Jefferson Starship concert video. And yeah, it was interesting. My boss, who I worked with in LA as an intern, had slipped a disc in his back. And back then he can work on, off a cell phone. So I was negotiating on behalf of Eugene, and we did end up, Eugene was pretty busy. So we ended up getting young Marty Short a deal to write the script for him. So so Eugene would only have to do the gig. And so it's pretty funny. That was, I've driven down from Drumheller and where I spent the summers after going to law school. And the first deal I did was for Eugene.
So you drove from Drumheller to LA?
Yeah, I drove down, yeah, to move there for the summer, and then for the following 2 semesters to go to Pepperdine, UCLA.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah. There's lots of good stories around that LA trip. It was pretty fun.
Oh, God. I think we'll have to get into that a little bit later on. Today, we have a special guest, because in the business of sport, we always like to talk about all the different elements of sports, which is something we've done. And I think our guests liked it. I think our audience likes it. And today, we're talking with our guest, of course, as Rich would call him, an innovative genius. Of course, spent a long time working with RG Ventures, and we'll get into all of that. And now he is the founder of a recently launched innovation company, Studio Craft Partners, with no U and no A. So STDIOCRFT Partners. They identify, engage with the right emerging technologies from the startup ecosystem. Spent 15 years building innovation programs with RGA Ventures. Work.
Hello. Rich and Jason, great to see you. Nice to meet you.
All right. So there we go. We'll just have to call him, because I think we're having some issues on StreamYard right now. So we'll get Jonathan over the phone. So,
hey, Jason, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Okay,
That's
perfect.
great.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry about that.
No problem. That's good.
Very nice to meet you. An honor to be here. Rich, good to see you again.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I can hear I can't hear anything.
Oh, well, we can hear it. We'll turn up your audio something.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out. But anyway.
Yep. I learned something new about Rich every time I talk to him.
See, Rich just doesn't know how to turn. He's got to turn his volume up. There you go.
No, it wasn't volume. It's one of those, like the light bulb, you turn it, you're just going to replace it and you turn it and starts, lights up again. Yeah, it's just a little disconnect.
All right. So, John, I want to get to, because you're like an innovative. You worked with sport. We'll get to your whole career, but I do want to talk about, innovation. Technology is obviously huge when it comes to sports. And for the last, 15 years, you worked, in sports and healthcare and climate and media content. You started in 2014 with the Dodgers, developing the Dodgers Accelerator, which was the first for a sports team back in 2014. So kind of walk us through what that accelerator was, and obviously has led to many good things for the Dodgers.
I mean, obviously that was a very pivotal moment in the history of the Dodgers. New acquisition, new ownership group, very innovative group, a group focused in, investments across many different types of engagement, types of entertainment properties, sports teams, et cetera. And they came in at the time with a valuation and a purchase price for the Dodgers that was quote unquote unheard of. And their notion was, we're not just buying a sports team, we're buying a global brand. And how do we utilize the expertise, the reach, the market access that we have, and the fan engagement that we have that's international to maximize the return, both for the team, but also more broadly from this acquisition? And they, of course, through the media deals they structured, et cetera, were very savvy about how they were going to operate the traditional business of sports, of a sports team, but they were what's beyond that. And so they really wanted to, as something I've heard Rich say many times, look at how they're working in and on the business at the same time, and really looking at how they could start to engage with this emerging startup ecosystem, which back in 2014 was still really hot. New technologies like IoT and computer vision were really taking over. Esports and other types of sporting engagement, channels were taking place. Social media was really picking up and started allowing for more channels to reach fans. And so at the time, they wanted to explore all of it. They didn't want to miss any opportunities. And so they saw the structure of a traditional, quote unquote, accelerator, Y Combinator, Techstars, et cetera, as a way for them to take a macro view of what's happening across the innovation ecosystem, what's happening in emerging tech that could be relevant for us and could drive new efficiencies, new business possibilities, new innovations that would allow us to again maximize on this acquisition that we made.
Part of the attraction, Jonathan, was the fact that they are the Dodgers. So when they announced that they had an innovation hub, they had an accelerator, all kinds of startups wanted to do business with them, and it made it a really powerful kind of a combination, because we could start an innovation hub or an incubator of some sort. No one's going to hear about it, but the figuring out ways to get others to be attracted to that brand was a pretty big opportunity for them that had never been exploited.
Yeah. And I think that, like many sports teams, the Dodgers up to that point had really business as usual. They had been in the focus on the business of winning games and, getting the best players. And if at the time where they really wanted to have a very significant shift in the mindset of the entire organization from players on up, then having a real intentional step into innovation to say, we're going to apply resources, we're going to make connections between emerging solutions and real business opportunities within an organization, making that as something that came from the top, and they put their time and their investment behind it, I think made a huge difference for them as they started to define what's the strategy going to be for us moving forward.
Jonathan Bradley joins us. And if you look at the Dodgers, obviously, I like what you said. It's taken a business. And in sports, I wonder sometimes, because you've worked with the Dodgers, you worked with Global Sports Venture Studio. You also with Billie Jean King Enterprises, right? Working with the Trailblazer Women and Sports Venture Studio. And if you just look at individual teams, though, like the Dodgers had owners who obviously weren't afraid to spend money. And there's a lot of people say, you want to make money, you got to spend money. And they definitely weren't afraid. They had the plan with Shohei Ohtani. And my understanding is when they paid all the money in the contract, they'd already had contracts that were going to cover off all of his contracts anyway, just because of all the money they were going to make in Japan through other things. So it's not like they make one decision and then say, okay, let's see what we have to do after. It's like when they make one decision, Jonathan, it's tied directly to 3 or 4 other ones that impact the team on the field as much as off the field. Is that fair?
Correct. Yeah, very much. And when they make decisions, ownership groups like that, when they make decisions, they make very informed decisions. They feel very confident about the outcome of their decisions before they make them. And so operating a innovation program like what they did back in 2014 gave them that ability to, at a relatively low lift of time and investment, and at that time, they were writing pretty small checks into these companies just to give the company enough fuel so they could test, pilot, whatever they needed to do. But when the time came that year and the years that followed, they, again, as you said, they had that ability to write the large checks that were allowed them to see both the impact on the team and the brand, but also on the ability to extend that reach, to see new revenue opportunities, to really think about outside the box ways that they could improve their team.
And are you surprised that more, or have, since the Dodgers, have other MLB, NFL franchises followed a similar path, or are they still well ahead of other teams?
Yeah, pretty quickly, several teams followed suit and launched programs. And I think that there's success stories and there's stories where it may not have, these programs may not have gotten the type of resources or attention that was necessary. And I think the Dodgers were a good example about really, following through on some of these opportunities and bringing in the right individuals who could see the vision from both a venture and a business impact standpoint. And I think that goes back to this notion that if, any team likely has the resources to do something like this. The question is, are they willing to believe in it? And are they willing to invest the time and have access to the people in order to make it successful? And you said, am I surprised that it doesn't happen more often? Yes, I'm very surprised it doesn't happen more often, because I think with the right support, and again, this goes back to the working in the business and the on the business paradigm, is if you can have the right support, which may come from an external resource like ours or others, to be able to sort of guide your path, the outcomes are generally always positive. And if you want to address a very shifting future in how players are recruited, how they're trained, how what their nutrition is, how they, and then, I think maybe even as importantly, how do they engage fans, and how does the team present itself to fans? You need to be leaning in now. And if you aren't already, you need to do so very quickly, because it's just changing around us. It's changing. And, there will always be fans of teams who do this or don't do this. But if you want to get ahead, the teams that seem to be doing that are the ones who have leaned in on this with great intentionality.
Now, Jonathan, do you have some examples of the early years of what the Dodgers did that led to significant gains for their organization?
Yep. I think that, again, as I said, they started with a real macro view. What's everything that could possibly impact our team, our brand? And they thought about it in concentric circles. What's everything on the field? Recruitment, training, nutrition, performance, moving to the stadium, capturing that broadcast media, new types of fan engagement, new types of streaming, new types of social media content. And then you expand beyond that and you start to think about, the broader stadium operations and those types of efficiencies. And then you think about external sports, esports, women's sports, etc. They looked at all of that, but very quickly through that process realized the biggest near-term impact that they could have was media and content. And so in the first round of engagement in the first program that we ran with them, they invested in 10 different companies across all types of different sectors. In the second tranche, they invested in 5 companies, 4 of which were media and content companies. And they had a vision for not only how those companies could individually impact the organization or the future of how they were going to engage fans and capture content, but how they could also work together. And that defined a strategy that they then took forward both within those companies and with other companies they ended up investing in, acquiring, and exiting from, to be able to, complete that strategy. And so phase 1, what's relevant for us, what's going to have the impact we need to have right away. For them, it was, we need to earn back this $2 billion we just spent, and media is a very effective way to do that. Phase 3 was, how do we take this and expand it? And so we looked at, we were investing in content automation companies like WSC. We were looking at automated video capture companies like KeyMotion. We were looking at player tracking companies like Shot Tracker. And then looking at, then Greenfly was a company that makes it much easier for the individual athlete to bring content to the table. So a platform from which they could more easily get instructions from the team or the sponsor, record their own content, create quick edits, send it back, collaborate with marketing team and athlete to be able to publish that very quickly. So that ability to then, again, understand what's going to impact your business, where can you have impact, where do you have the right people in your organization who are willing to take the time and energy to bring these types of new capabilities and new possibilities forward, then invest in it, and really, really lean in.
And Jonathan, they ended up in some cases combining the technologies of multiple companies. And I think the story about KeyMotion and Shot Tracker, how it addressed an issue where I think it was 3rd division basketball teams, colleges couldn't afford to stream content. So they combined a bunch of different technologies to create a production service that had all the graphics of a national television broadcast, but didn't use any people. I mean, that's a good one maybe to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pilot that they did with KeyMotion and Shot Tracker. The only thing they added that was a human was live radio broadcast, so that you still had the voiceover, but you had data, statistics, graphics, you had edits, all autonomous, and it was 40 different games in that pilot that would across one tournament.
Wow.
But that lit the light bulb for them, where they then went out and found a handful of other companies that really complemented that to create something that eventually was acquired by Sportsradar, and had a good financial return for them, but also just allowed them to have impact in other markets. And this wasn't focused on baseball at the time that they were doing it; it was focused on basketball. But they had the reach, the network to be able to then, help this new organization that they created be successful and seek tremendous financial return, which allowed them to, obviously spend more money on players and, be able to invest in other ways.
Jonathan Bradley joins us, and we're going to take a quick break because when I come back, I want to talk about, and we talk about the Dodgers, and they're one team and obviously done it very well. But the sport of hockey, is it best to start it with one? Should the NHL be looking to come up with basically, an NHL accelerator? And I want to talk about that from your perspective and your experience doing it for over 15 years, Jonathan, about how the NHL can go about, and maybe just hockey in general, maybe not even at the NHL level. Maybe it has to start lower. We'll see. But we'll discuss that next here on The Business of Sports. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter, and our special guest today, Jonathan Bradley, here on Sports 1440.
Do you sit around at work listening to sports radio all day? That's right, my friend. There's no shame in it. It's the good life. And we're not here to snitch. Say, if your company advertised on Sports 1440, you could be the one listening for your company's ad every day. Now you've got an excuse to listen to Sports 1440 all day. It's part of the job. Sounds like someone's getting a promotion. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca and let's get to work for you.
It's here. The Ford, it's a big Not yet. The Ford, it's a big deal. Oh, guys, just wait. The Ford, it's a big deal event is on. Really? Now. Hurry in to lease a 2026 F-150 STX with black adherence package from $237 bi-weekly at 0% APR for 36 months with $54.90 down. That's like $119 a week. The Ford, it's a big deal event. Visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca.
Wow. Get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Spring into savings at the Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals, and buy more, save more. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game. Save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 50% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick. Proudly Canadian since 1971.
Everything is going to be okay. Any business, regardless of size, can stumble occasionally. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. If your business is facing financial challenges, our team of chartered insolvency and restructuring professionals have corporate debt recovery solutions that work. Schedule your free Faber focus session at faber.ca today. Chances of a positive outcome increase if you engage Faber sooner rather than later.
Why should you drive a Subaru? How about durability, style, and an excellent customer experience from the moment you step into the showroom? And how about accolades, including awards for numerous 2026 Subaru models from both AutoTrader and JD Power? But don't just take my word for it. Take a test drive and you'll see why the Subaru name is recognized and renowned for quality. To learn more, visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers' push to the playoffs is on, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play score and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.430 as we continue on. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Our guest today, our big guest of the day, of course, is Jonathan Bradley, who's really, he's probably not going to like the term, but innovative genius, really, when it comes to innovation and working with sports and healthcare and media content and many others. And we're, of course, worked with the Dodgers and their accelerator for them. And it's funny, a lot of the championship teams in pro sports, as Rich and I were discussing during the commercial break, all have kind of their own innovative hub. So we have seen it a little bit, not a ton yet in the National Hockey League.
Not a ton, not at all.
Not at all.
Innovation is taping your stick different.
Yeah. So Jonathan, when you look at for hockey and, the opportunity, it's not because I think some people, everybody's so adverse to change. It's like, if you get an innovative hub, it means you're going to change everything. And suddenly, that's not what it is. And how do you think, what would be kind of some of the easier things or how hockey should be looking at to benefit themselves by having an innovative hub?
Yeah. I'll push back on the innovation genius part first.
I was going to do that, but that's okay.
If I have an expertise, it's bringing the right parties together to
Okay.
foster innovation.
Okay.
And so that goes directly to your question. Who are the right partners to engage? And we've had conversations with the NHL at the league level, very interesting, very, understanding the opportunities and the needs. We've had conversations at the PA level. We've had conversations at the team level. We've talked to individual players as well. And from my perspective, there's complications at each of those levels. So, from a league level, there's collective bargaining agreements. There's, as you probably know much better than I do, and Ritch probably, certainly you, there's sharp elbows, and when it comes to trying to maintain competitive advantage and what's in it for me and what do I get. And so that kind of brings you to the team level. I think there are some opportunities for teams to collaborate on these types of initiatives to a certain extent. I think the initial opportunity with hockey is there's lots of low-hanging fruit of looking at things that other leagues, but also other industries are doing that can be adopted relatively quickly, that could have some real impact, a business impact. And it would be a rising tide lifts all boats type of opportunity. But outside of that, someone has to be motivated and have the vision and want to be the leader to push through. And so, not to always go back to the Dodger opportunity, because I think there now are lots of other examples of this. But someone has to take the initiative to say, I'm going to push through and see, okay, what can we do? What could work? What are the things that we can implement now? And what are the things that we have to have partners involved in and bring them to the table? And so by starting somewhere and saying, hey, we're going to invest in this or that, or we're going to try this or that, and you have success, you then take that success to your partners and you say, hey, look at what we've done. We can do this for you, and you should join us in this effort. And it is, innovation is a team sport. And, to really get something done, to have impact, you need the broadcast, you need the player performance, you need the team and the branding and the marketing sides. You need them all to be working together to some extent. The PA usually is a very willing partner. They want to protect their players. But ultimately, what we're looking at is ways to drive revenue, ways to create engagement, ways to extend careers, ways to identify new players who may have been lost as a needle in the haystack. And so, there's benefit all around. But to give you an answer, it would be, you need motivated parties. It might help if they have, that kind of access and, have the decision-making capability, meaning true leaders within the industry, to lean forward and say, okay, we're going to invest in this and we're going to prove. And I think it would happen really very quickly. What kind of impact this could have.
Well, Jonathan, it's also systematic, right? Because right now, Jason, who are you going to call at the Oilers about an innovative investment in some technology that could drive some aspect of their business? They don't have anybody in that position. No one would know what to do if they got the call. And then secondarily, there's what we would call in the innovative space, an immune response. There's just this immune response to, like, I don't like change. You know what?
Yes. Yeah.
Or, hey, Jason, was I supposed to know about this stuff? Well, don't let that guy in the meeting. We'll look like idiots.
Yes.
And then what's happening in hockey, which is it's fairly typical. Jonathan won't be aware of this, but like there's a lot of little startups are selling a little innovation. There's a couple of companies that say they monitor shot quality and all this stuff, but one of them, I won't name them. So a shot from the blue line is measured as a certain percentage scoring chances. If it's tipped, because they're using AI that can identify the change, it's the same chance of scoring if it's tipped, if it's not tipped. But what happens is now you've had change. One team buys this thing. They start circulating through the league. Well, we sold it to the Carolina Hurricanes. Okay, so we want that then. It's useless. It has absolutely no value, not like Steve Elliott stuff, who we've had on the show. And that's what's happened. It's like we're immune to change, but when somebody else does it, it's a copycat league, right? It's even just in the basic elements of hockey. they were big. So we got to draft big. They were fast. We got to draft fast. Like nobody has a plan. I mean, somebody has a little bit of a plan, but not many of these teams. You ask a general manager in the National Hockey League, you want to go on the show tomorrow night? We're going to talk about your 5 to 7 year plan.
Well, Jason, I have a theory, and I'd be interested to hear your opinion on the theory, which is that there's two motivating factors. One is desperation.
Yeah.
The other is opportunity for success that it needs to be seized at the moment that it's occurring. And I think hockey's in both of those at the same time right now. I think again, I wasn't raised in the hockey culture, but I've seen such a tremendous uptick over the last 2 years of engagement. I have a 15-year-old daughter who sends me hockey clips. We live in North Carolina. We don't have a culture of hockey. Her friends do. Her friends are following players, young players, and she's sending me clips. She knows who's winning games. She's following the Sharks, and she doesn't watch hockey. We've been to a handful of Hurricane games and enjoy those, and she really enjoys the live experience. Yep. But her experience is just completely different than mine. And how are you going to seize on that? How are you, hockey industry, how are you going to bottle that? How are you going to provide her and her friends with new avenues to engage? And so I think there's a moment happening right now for hockey for a variety of reasons, but there also continues to be the desperation of revenues need to increase. We need to have more, we need to have more opportunities. We need to expand the sport. We need to reach new fans. And so I think both are happening at the same time. The question is who across the industry is going to be willing to lean in to sort of engage on both ends.
And, it's interesting having your experience working with sports, but then, in healthcare, climate, media content, because there's always challenges, especially, there's still people out there that will see, if you don't use the right word, they want to look at that and say, oh, you know what, climate change just means if all of a sudden it's cold in the wintertime, well, there's no climate change. Well, that's not really what it means, right? It's more about you're going to have extreme changes and more flooding and more natural disasters and all those sorts of things. The difference from environment, because sports is something that fans, you kind of choose to be a fan. Right? Like your daughter all of a sudden is like, hey, you know what? Like I'm making a conscious effort. And I know the algorithm is built in their phone. So if all of a sudden you clip on a few hockey clips, well, now you get more hockey clips. Okay. And so that's way better than getting some of the political or environmental things otherwise, because, you can't really send somebody, a fake video. There's a goal or it's not a goal, right? Like that's what it is.
Well, you can send it. It's just they'll figure it out in 20 minutes.
Well, maybe, but does sports have an advantage, Jonathan? Because you have an audience who's much more emotionally engaged automatically. Like they make the choice, maybe they're 4 or 5 and they get to go to their first sports game and they're with their mom or their dad. And it's the whole environment. They're like, geez, I've never really seen my dad or mom go crazy. All of a sudden they're in the stands, they're cheering loud. And it's something that's ingrained in you that sports teams have an advantage automatically because you've injected almost into the veins of your audience this passion that doesn't just come naturally. Like somebody, to be an environmentalist, and God love him, like you got to put in a lot of time and a lot of research. And, you just don't all of a sudden wake up like that. Like, is that an advantage that sports teams really, that they almost take for granted that they have that advantage and they just, the fans are just going to show up and we can keep doing the same lame production thing because they love it, right? Like, is that where sports teams are missing out on, rather than take it for granted, their passion? We have to take that passion and really dive into it 10 times full because we could make them even more passionate.
I think that's absolutely true. Number one, it's fun, right? And look, you've chosen a career in sports, because it beats coming in and doing a lot of other things. It's amazing to be able to go in and do this every day. Ritch had the same passion and chose a career in sports as well. There's a few sides to it. There's the team loyalty and the community around being loyal to a specific fan. There's the love of the sport itself. And there's also the shared history and the shared culture that I think hockey uniquely has, a very unique and sort of, if I can use, won't offend any other leagues, but to sports, but it has a very pure sort of culture around it, and the connection of family, the hard work, all of the things that need to come into play to be able to be a great athlete in this sport and to be a dedicated fan. And Ritch was kind enough to connect me with a few of the players that he represents, and I was able to have interviews with them to really start to understand, well, what's your perspective? What does the sport need? What do you want to see happen in the sport? And to a man, they all said, I love this sport. This sport has meant so much to me and my family, not just me made it to the professional levels, but all of my friends who grew up playing this sport or watching this sport, watching it with my dad, my granddad, watching it now with my son or daughter. This means so much to me. I want to see this grow. And again, I haven't heard that across every sport that I've worked with. I think there are some examples of that for sure, and lots of players feel that way. But the fact that I met with probably 25 different players,
Wow.
and each one of them in some form expressed that to me, says that's the opportunity. And when you think about the stories that are being told around hockey right now, both on social media and short form content, but also in recent TV shows that have been successful around the sport, you're really starting to capture and present that. What is the passion? What is it that drives these players to do what they do? What is the culture? What are they really playing for? And, if I was to say there's one area where I wouldn't want to invest in within hockey, it's the ability to tell those stories. It's the ability to reach those fans. I'm so happy to have this experience with my daughter, to be able to share this growing appreciation for the sport together. And if it wasn't for a new form of engagement, we wouldn't have that. But how are we going to continue to do that? How do fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers and mothers and daughters all share these things across generations, across new ways of wanting to engage with content and with the sport, while keeping the traditional values, the traditional experiences that it's always had alive.
But the stories are, sorry, Jonathan, the stories are amazing. Like, I just got back from St. Petersburg, and I'd never been to St. Petersburg before. I mean, all these players that come from places like that, and there's lots of issues around that with the political issues now, but the culture is so unique, and there's just so much to be learned and so many stories to be told. And we're seeing a shift, and I think you're touching on that when you talk about your daughter. We used to be fans of a league, then we more gravitated to, I'm a Rangers fan. Like, there's Rangers fans that have been with their grandfather, like you said, have been all these games they're passionate about. Now there's a shift in the kids to the individual relationship between them and the player. And that's where I think the opportunity lies. The next major media property is just going to be that collection of 1,500 players that have built a media platform where they can connect directly to the fans, because that's what they want. Your daughter thought so-and-so was cute, I'm guessing, right? I mean, that's an element of it. They're handsome young guys. They're playing a game that's fast and dynamic, and that's interesting. They want to know more about, what does he do? Who's he dating? What's going on? And that's those stories, or just where's he from? People
I think that is true. That there is that. They can relate. They're young athletes, and they have they resonate. Across these platforms. They have personalities. But
how old's your daughter?
I think this new generation is hardworking, dedicated. Really wants to achieve objectives in life. And I think they see that in these players as well. I mean, my daughter's a equestrian. She's a very dedicated rider. And I think she sees that too. So it's not just, let's find the cutest players and, put them out there.
How old's your daughter? She's 14 or something. I think she's 14, 15.
Yep.
Yeah. So how many professional athletes can she relate to, like Celebrini, who's 3-4 years older than her? I mean, we have such an incredible group of young players from Bedard to Celebrini that kids can really relate to. Can they relate to an aging 35-year-old overweight baseball player that's maybe pretty talented with a piece of wood? But at the end of the day, that's not that appealing. But there's a fan base that is uniquely attracted to hockey because it's a very different dynamic. Not many leagues. I mean, how many NFL players? Nobody's playing at 18, 19, 20, 21. It's just a different demographic there's a huge opportunity there.
Well, again, now also it's happened organically, meaning she didn't just discover it on her own. It's her friend group, right? She has a good friend who lives in New Jersey who started sending her things and started sharing her passion for, for the sport. And she said, "Oh, well, I'm interested in this. Let me start looking." It wasn't just like it just popped up on her feed one day. It was, so let me explore this myself. And it's about, she had that experience growing up in New Jersey, much more in a hockey environment, and shared that as hey, I love this sport. And then, it happens organically. Again, our experience, I think, is different, has been different, but it's about how do we think about innovation as a tool to be able to continue to share the values and how the sport resonates and the success of the sport and what it really means in ways that we haven't thought of before or ways that haven't been able to exist before. And ultimately, then that benefits the team, that benefits the players, that benefits the league, and that allows for, again, continued growth and, ideally your favorite team being able to hoist the trophy at the end of the year. But it's goes back to, it's those who intentionally pursue these new opportunities. They're going to be the ones who I think get there faster.
Because even the players we talked to, Jonathan, like all the conversations we had with these young guys currently playing in the NHL, they all wanted to be cool. They all wanted their league to be cool, and none of them felt it was. And it frustrated them because, look, these guys are held accountable. They're working hard. Part of this is just wrapped up in the fact these are monopolies. There's no competition for the Vancouver Canucks or the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. So you're not really pushed to do something innovative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But if you look at, and there's probably some truth to that, no question. Jonathan, you look at it, and we for anybody who's just joining us, we have Jonathan Bradley on the show, and of course, Jonathan has been involved. He's got his innovation company, Studio Craft Partners. Spent 15 years building innovation programs with RGA Ventures across sports and healthcare. They worked with the Dodgers to develop the Dodgers Accelerator, which was the first for a sports team. And now I want to kind of go back to that, Jonathan, because we were talking. So the Dodgers had it, and I know people out there think, well, the Dodgers just spend money, and that's why they win. And there is some truth to that right now when you look at the luxury tax and what they're paying and how much more they're paying. Yeah. So you can't deny that. But they're able to do that because of all the other steps that they've done over the last decade, right? Like, it's not just we outspend them and everything works out. They did all these other things. They're like, yeah, okay, we do spend a lot of money in Shohei Ohtani, but we built all these partnerships to know that the minute we signed the contract, we're going to get all that money covered by partnerships that we've made in other parts of the world. Now, hockey isn't as global per se, but you do have superstars from Europe and from Sweden and Finland and Russia and other places. And I know the league's always talked about wanting to expand there, and I just don't think feasibly it makes sense due to travel and time and everything else. But when I look at what the Dodgers did, and I know Shohei's a unique because he's like a superstar of superstars, and no one's really ever done it. So I can't say, unless we get a hockey player who's going to play goal one game and play 4 the next game, we're not going to have a Shohei Ohtani equivalent in the game of hockey. But what are some things that the Dodgers have done that grow their game outside of North America that hockey should be looking at, rather than just, well, we got to expand or we got to go play a few exhibition games there?
Yep. One of the, and again, my lawyers would want me to say, full disclosure, I don't speak for the Dodgers. I can't fully represent. But from my outside perspective and my experiences working with them, one of the things that really helped them internationally was understanding the power of micro audiences. And so looking at players who may not be the star player on any given team, but they're from a certain region, or they played in that certain region for a period of time, and they have a dedicated fan base who want to see, who are waking up, in a completely different time zone, miss the game. They want to be able to see, what did that player do last night? and the ability to be able to capture that content, produce that video in the very few minutes, now minutes, maybe even seconds, produce that clip, get it out, understand who that audience is, get it out to them. They, through investing in that technology, were able to understand that they could get more reach and more impact with those micro audiences than trying to get the Shohei Ohtani. Well, he's a great example because he has audiences all around the world, but trying to get their other star players to push through the noise of all the other, we're not just competing with sports, right? We're competing with all types of things happening in the global news and media environment. And so how do we know that this one clip is going to resonate? Well, if you have a truly dedicated micro audience, they're going to watch it. They're going to engage, and you can monetize that engagement. You can have that create reach. And so I think being able to really start to invest in that and understand that as an engagement strategy, you don't have to go to each of these cities and play games for them to fall in love with the sport or for them to want to follow and understand. You can reach them in other ways. And there's going to be new ways of engaging them, new forms of media, new platforms that are going to emerge. We see that continuously. And so how do we make sure you're at the forefront of that, so that when the time comes, you're able to utilize it, right? You're able to seize upon that. But I think it starts with, what are the things we can do right now? And I think, again, there's a litany of things that we can do right now to be able to reach those markets.
Well, and I think there's thinking outside of the box. Jonathan, you've heard me talk about India. I mean, in the Southeast Asia, there's hundreds of millions of fans of the game of hockey. And it's field hockey, but we see that manifest in the fact that we have Hockey Night in Canada produced in Punjabi because they're familiar with our game. So I don't know if there's opportunities there. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult when there's no ice over there, except in maybe a glass at the hotel, in terms of getting them have players come like Shotani's done. But there's opportunities that we haven't explored that, our game is, I remember talking to the producer of Avatar, a good friend of mine, Colin Wilson, and he talked about, he went to a hockey game live and he said, I can't believe the quality of this. Is like men are traveling at twice the speed a man can run. They're hitting each other. Periodically, they're dropping their gloves and having bare knuckle fights. While at the same time as they're driving towards them, that people are allowed to, do all kinds of bodily harm to them. And you idiots are shooting it with a camera on a 15-story balcony over here in the back of the room. And that doesn't translate to the TV. And we all know that simple problem. Take someone to a game live. They'll love it. Why? Yeah. Because we have the best product, and then we're dumb enough to take the best product and turn it into a terrible television product. So no one that walks by their TV in Florida or in South Carolina even knows it's a great game. Like, we're just not that smart.
Well, having closer cameras, I think, is definitely one that would help. It's hard to bring more people to the game simply because of the cost, right? So, Jonathan, how much of that, when we talk innovation, goes into it when you're talking to them and other teams and anything else, environment, climate, all of it, cost, everything's up. So lots of people, like, there's only a limited amount. And while people will love the game, you know what? They're like, well, I get my cable package and that's my commitment to the game because I can never go to the games because it's just too expensive. Was that ever part of the equation? And I know it's different in baseball because you have a bigger stadium and you have more fans. And so hockey has a challenge there because there's a limited number of seats. And they're trying to charge a massive, like, I don't see in 20 years, all of a sudden them saying, hey, you know what? We're going to go back to $50 seats. Like, I can't see it happening. So how do you think they get over that challenge? What's the innovation to help there?
And you're specifically asking about hockey, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think that, so a challenge that we are aware of when we started to really look at opportunities with the NFL is they wear helmets, and you can't see the expression on the players' faces as they're going through these plays. And so in order to be able to create empathy, engagement, desire to see individual players be successful, not just teams, is being able to have connections, create connections with them at times that the helmet's off. And I think that's just such a huge, an important part. Now, whether to follow player 78 or 17, or, to be able to know when they're on the ice, and to be able to say, oh, I know what their face, I know what their face looks like. I know what they're going through right now. And then, again, Rich, you're right. Get the cameras to be able to zoom in and see that after, the moment after the goal, makes a huge difference. I mean, we're humans. We want that human, we want that human level engagements. But, I keep going back to this, but I really feel like it's storytelling. It's about creating these connections. It's creating the relationship and tapping in to understand what is it that motivates people. And it's not, it is shots on goal. It is, winning, but that's not the only thing. And there's a lot of other stories that are happening around that, journeys of players from all types of different perspectives that are very compelling and create these human stories that have built this fan base for forever. It's just a matter of, how do we make sure we can make that reach that
Well,
audience?
I think the easy answer is to take the Travis Kelce approach. Teach players to get engaged on social media with high-profile superstar musicians, so that they then will have the audience. Because Kelce did that almost himself. He just liked her, and he was smart enough to go, "I'll just listen to her songs."
But he was pretty successful prior too.
But he made the it's not hard for my athlete, like one of our clients married Carrie Underwood, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's a very small percentage.
No, but I mean,
I don't think the goal of your league can be like, hey, let's get all our players to only date celebrities.
No, but at the end of the day, it's thinking like that changes the way you. I mean, obviously, you're not going to select dates for these guys, but that really is a pretty simple answer.
Well, yeah, okay, but that's also the outlier, I would think, for sure.
Because
so, for example, Rich,
because you have to ensure that all of the other people, like, you can't just pick and choose people to fall in love because
you don't pick them. You just introduce them. That's how we all meet. Mike Comrie did, and Hillary, and
but that didn't work. So
well, no, but it did come. It didn't last. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's looking for that maybe in other formats. How do you reach into other audiences? So football got into Taylor Swift's audience. How do you get in? And there's other ways of doing it. I mean, we got some really talented musicians in the.
Well, I think when they become friends, for sure, we see that all the time. Athletes want to be rock stars, and rock stars want to be athletes. That's always been there, and fans want to be both. Right?
Connect and capitalize on that.
Well, I mean, and Rich, it gave, sometimes I do better in these conversations when I pretend you're joking, but you might actually be serious. But the notion is that it's a romantic story, right?
Sure.
It's a story, but it's a human story. And it's this, I feel passionate about this one person and I like this other person, and them together seems like a good thing. It doesn't mean that every story told has to be a romantic one. It could be about, I found a dog and I rescued this dog and I love, it could be whatever it is. It's just, or the struggles I went through, or the work that I do.
Yes.
Again, it's that, and that's what's going to motivate people, and creates that passion, creates that loyalty, that leads to the pure enjoyment of the sport. And I think that's what we don't want to forget. We don't want to make it about the Bachelor for hockey,
Yes.
right? I mean, which is probably not a terrible idea. You can have that, Jason.
Yeah,
Go for it.
right.
But
apparently the women are almost as physical as hockey players. I understand.
We don't. It doesn't have to be about that, but it's about how to, there's enough good happening across the sport at, again, different levels that we're probably not telling those stories. You see some of those, that moment when the USA team won and all those kids were playing games and they stopped the game and they all celebrated together. These young, what were they, 10-year-old players on the ice, and they all celebrated and took like that was incredibly heartwarming. That really showed like the passion of the sport and how it engages at all different levels. It's that type of thing. And again, that's not the only answer, right? There's many other things that could be being done around fan experience, around fan engagement, stadium engagement, sponsor engagement, and how do you maximize those types of things? But again, I think it's about prioritizing what are the things we think are going to have the biggest impact.
Before I let you go, you recently launched an innovation company, Studio Craft. Tell us about it a little bit and kind of what's the 5 to 7 year plan for Studio Craft.
I think that one of the things that I wanted to do differently than what I've done before is try to remove all of the elongated process that traditional accelerators and venture studios have to be able to get to a positive outcome. Accelerators are built around this notion of let's pick 10 companies, let's bring them in for 12 weeks. We're going to give them mentorship, teach them how to pitch, teach them how to go out and get that first round of investment. And then in 5 to 7 years, we're going to see a return from that investment and some impact on our company. A venture studio traditionally is we're going to come up with an idea, we're going to bring in founders, and we're going to build it over a period of 2 years to be able to then, have some significant impact on my company. I think there's still a place for both of those things. We still need that in the industry, and people should be investing in those things. But right now, businesses of all kinds are desperate for keeping up, for understanding what their competitors are doing, knowing who the disruptors are going to be, and what should I be doing now? Startups, founders of all kinds have companies that are very viable, that they've built and they've gotten that first round of investment. What they need is non-dilutive revenue. They need contracts. They need engagement. And so Studio Craft is going to focus on keeping the notion of we want to do this intentionally. We want this to have a process. We want support in helping to determine which investments we should really double down on and where the opportunities are and who are the companies we should be talking to, but not without all the other elements of these programs that take more time, that take more investment, that are more focused on, as you said, 5 to 7 year return. I want to see impact in 6 months, a year, 2 years, and we're still very much focused on sports. I still have a passion for sustainability and energy. Energy is a new focus because of, as you've seen happen in the global economy now, but also as communities have been impacted by weather events and others and how much important energy is. There's solutions out there right now that can have an impact. If I can use my expertise, which Ritch, I think, inaccurately referred to as innovation genius, if I could use my expertise, it's how do we bring the right parties together to have the conversation to identify what can help me have an impact now, what can help me have an impact on my community, on the world, on the sport or the fan or the content that I love, what can have a result right away. And that's what Studio Craft is here to help people do.
Awesome. Jonathan, thanks so much for taking an hour of your time to join us today here in the Business of Sports. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Really, really pleasure.
Awesome. That's Jonathan Bradley. Innovative stuff for sure.
I'm still trying to figure out who I'm going to introduce a couple of my clients.
Yeah. We'll be waiting.
I'm going to solve this problem.
But hey, Ritch, you just saw the article now. The players are very worried about the fact that there's an NHL watcher online who knows who they're trying to DM. So they got to be, you got to be careful. So maybe just block the site. I don't know. I'm not the smartest guy in the shed, but that would probably be an easy one.
Apparently the guy said if they just contact me, I'll drop them. I know it's a very
it is kind of weird. So anyway.
But it is basically getting the stories told and getting them out, whether it's done through.
Yes, that's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
That's key. Ritch, we will talk to you next Wednesday. Have a great week.
Okay, man.
There you go. That's the Business of Sports here on Sports 1440. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. And April's here. And you know what? They got the snow. You're like, I don't want to go car shopping. Yeah, you go there. You can see the brand new Autoplex. It's indoors. All the vehicles. If you're looking for a great new vehicle, it's a place to shop at northgategm.com.
This is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Favorite us right now.
Powered by PlayAlberta.ca. If you gamble, use your game sense. Learn more at gamesense.ab.ca. This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day. Game day, Oilers and Sharks down in San Jose. Puck drop just after 8. Pre-game coverage coming your way 6 o'clock with Andrew Walker. Elsewhere, Leafs and Caps meeting at 5:30, and at 5, the Rangers will host the Sabres. In the majors today, Jays pick up the win over the Dodgers 4-3. They'll be back in action on Friday, kicking off the series with the Twins. Elsewhere, Rockies over the Astros 9-1. Phillies fall to the Giants 5-0, and it was the Braves over the Angels 8-2. In the association tonight, you've got the Bucks in Detroit. Nuggets host the Grizz, Thunder taking on the Clippers. Spurs host the Blazers, and the Mavericks in the desert to take on the Suns. BCHL, Saints looking to stay alive. They host the Brooks Bandits down 3-0, while the Crusaders will try to take a 3-1 series lead against Blackbelt. And in the AJ Round 2 action, Cam working complete the sweep over Drumheller. While the Storm host the Wolverine, currently leading 2-1. PWHL has Ottawa taking on Seattle just after 5. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, Sharks reporter Shang Peng, and we'll hear Cam Pate's 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free Radio Player app and listen wherever you go.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games,
hey, the J
on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lottery, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Noodle noodle nood noodle nood noodle nood noodle noodle nood noodle noodle nood 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 noodle noodle nood noodle noodle nood noodle nood noodle nood noodle noodle nood noodle noodle nood 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 noodle noodle nood.
Trouble low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell. And we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me. GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Ruder says 1 plunge, 2.
What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
Spring into savings at The Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals. And buy more, save more. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game and save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 15% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
From the first face-off to the final, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk. With live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows, we bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7, only on Sports 1440, Edmonton Sports Station.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Summer, it's coming.
an unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit ProSolutionsInc.ca to schedule your service today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
$512. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by playalberta.ca. We're at Lotto 649. Tonight, you can get your tickets, playalberta.ca. And while you're there, check out the Jason Gregor Show odds boost specials. Good luck at playalberta.ca. Some news just coming in. Ron Francis stepping down at the end of this season as a president of the Seattle Kraken. And you know what? I wonder if this is a polite way of allowing him not to be fired, because there wasn't a whole bunch of success ever since he took over the Kraken. I know their second year was nice, but they have it's been very cautious, similar to his tenure in Carolina. Very cautious approach. I think at times maybe a little bit of an overthinker. Not a lot of big swings for the Seattle Kraken, basically from their inception. That's how it's been. It's time now to get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, underground infrastructure specialist. When I was in Toronto, ran into the owner of GS, Turan. Saw him at the game, and was quite excited. And we had a few laughs. Learned a lot about GS, kind of when took it over from his dad, because they've had it in the family business for a long time, and a lot of the changes and kind of the culture there. It's one where I think a lot of people want to work. So they are hiring. I would apply today. gsconstruction.ca/careers. Well, look up careers. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Hey, good thing you're home from Toronto. The Blue Jays can start winning now.
Oh yeah, that was a great game to take your son to when they get pounded 14-2. So. He wasn't loving it, but like any kid, he adapted and found ways to chase fly balls and stuff and foul balls, so that made it entertaining for sure.
They won today. They're on the way back, baby.
Oh yeah, you know what? All it took was a stolen base attempt and a missed chance, and so the winning run comes in with no RBI, which is kind of fitting the way the Jays are going with guys on third base and second base and 2 outs. Hasn't been good, but they found a way to win, and maybe that will jumpstart them a little bit. Seattle Kraken news just coming down, Spec, Ron. This can't really be a surprise to anybody, I don't think. I think that organization needed a new direction. I know he moved up from the GM to the president, but I just don't think much changes until he's outside the organization. They've just been too cautious historically.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's certainly been a middle of the road, poor expansion brother to the Vegas Golden Knights, right? Vegas came in the league. They were good right away. They've been good ever since. And then the next team that came in was Seattle, and they haven't been that good. And I think they had one. Who'd they beat in the playoffs? It was Colorado, wasn't it?
Colorado in 7 games, yes.
Yeah, in 7 games. But I mean, they've been their highlight of their life here. So whether I have a hard time saying that it's, I know that the GM can definitely affect change and build the roster. I don't know what Ronnie Francis's job as president was like, whatever. He certainly didn't do it as a general manager, and I guess whether he's moved on or they were going to fire him, I don't know. But it's Jason Botterill's team now as a GM, and you would like to see Seattle. They're one of those American teams. Like, there's a lot of places to spend my entertainment dollar if I'm a sports fan in Seattle, boy. If the Kraken don't grab my entertainment dollar, I go to the University of Washington. I go to Washington State. I go to the Mariners. I go to the Seahawks. I go to the whatever their MLS team's called. Like if you're crappy, it's hard to get fans and sponsors when you're the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, no, that is definitely fair. And their ownership group, of course, likely going to be bringing in an NBA team back.
Yeah,
so, you know what? But hey, they wouldn't be the first organization that has two teams, and they're going to want them both to be successful. And they probably have sponsors that end up working on both of them. So we'll see. But I am interested to see because the problem with the Kraken is right now they're not good enough. Although they have lost 5 in a row, and they just keep plummeting down the standings, which is actually a good thing for them. They should lose the rest of the way out and try to get their best odds to get a high pick, because that's a team that is desperate for a high-end player. They've never had a high-end player, and that's what they lack.
Well, they had Shane Wright.
Yeah, well, he's not.
And it didn't pan out, but he was. What did they draft Shane Wright? How far down?
He's 4th overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, he was
never,
supposed.
Well, yeah, but he was never talked about as being like a high-end guy, right? Like,
right. I'm just saying, it's kind of like the year the Oilers drafted first and got Yakupov. When it was their turn to have a high pick, there just wasn't a lot there, and unfortunately for them. So, I think Pacific is a better place if there's more good teams in it. And I mean, Seattle's been a pushover since they showed up here. So let's hope for the best down there for sure.
Last night, Spec, the Oilers continued to be the team that we've seen for a lot of time this season. They just was gift-orama, some bad turnovers, some bad giveaways, some bad efforts, and they lose a game. They get a point. It's a key point. Now they're tied with Vegas, 4 games to go. They do own the tiebreaker. They're 1 up on Anaheim. And I said it earlier in my show, Spec. I believe that you can keep getting rid of coaches and you keep getting rid of goaltenders, but because this type of game happens too often for this team. And to me, because I believe there is not enough of a standard that has been set to say, now these games will happen over the course of the year. Tampa Bay has sucked over time. Florida had bad games the last few years. They win. They're going to happen. The Oilers in their heyday got blown out 11-0. One year they won the cup. So it'll happen. But it's too often of a regular occurrence for me. Like when we're talking 1 out of every 3 or 4 games, like it was for the first 60 games of the year, it's become acceptable in the organization from their leadership group because they're the ones who play. You can't go from 5-8 games in a row of really good sound defensive game to suddenly fall apart and tell me that it's systemic or it's goaltending. It's just not.
Well, it's not goaltending for sure. Like you could, a lot of people you could ask Jari to make more saves last night. Sometimes a goalie will. He was first of all, let's make this clear. Jari was the best goalie on the ice last night, right? He had way more work than the other guy and made way more big saves than the other guy. And the other guy let in 5. So you had the best goalie on the ice. Sure, can we look at a goal or two and say, man, I wish you'd save that? Yeah, we can. But in any world, he's letting in 4 last night at least, right? At least 4 and maybe 5. So that's a team loss. Like you're kidding yourself if you're blaming a goalie last night for one. You're absolutely right. With the Oilers' Achilles heel, the Oilers, we've watched them long enough and we know this. When their sort of return to bad form is that game. They score a bunch and they give up even more. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what happens when the Oilers don't come to play. We've watched them tighten things up, kind of excited. Okay, they're in the playoff form. And then that game comes along. It's, you want to blame the leadership? Sure. I mean, let's start with your best defenseman. That was one of the worst games Bouchard's had in a long time last night. He wasn't any good. I thought that breaking the puck out of the zone was such a challenge last night, Jason. It was just unbelievable how poorly it was broken out. Do we put that at the feet of the defenseman? Do we put it at forwards who were standing at center ice saying, hey, we're way over here. Give me the puck. I don't know whose fault it is because I watched the video today, but their game gets loose when they're not playing well. And last night, you're not getting any looser than they were last night.
Yeah. And that's why I wouldn't be shocked as the way this team is that all of a sudden they go into San Jose and now they're like, okay, guys, let's bear down. And then they have a good defensive game again. I wouldn't be, now, could they easily have another stinker? Yes. but for them to bear down wouldn't be a shock to me either, because they've done that multiple times. And,
Well,
and then
give them credit. They've been to 2 cups. You don't get to 2 cups if you can't play a consistent 2 months of good defensive hockey. So they can do it. We know they can do it. They've done it. It could happen anytime. Like, there's no mystery here. It's not like, I wonder if the Oilers can play a good enough brand of defense to win. They've won 6 rounds the last 2 years. Yes, they can.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of, it's a matter of making it more of a habit. That's all.
Yeah, well, that's my key, right? And so it's like, I know you asked the question, they don't really care about home ice. And to me, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, I'm sorry. We can talk about for the history of time. I know, they had home ice for 1 series last year and they didn't win it, so it doesn't make it. That doesn't matter. To me, that's an idiotic claim, because the history of the game tells you that home ice advantage matters. You think it mattered in 24? Yeah, I think it did when they lost in Game 7. If that game's at home, maybe it's a different outcome. And I just think it illustrates that we're like, we're that good that we can just turn it on when we want. We don't need home ice advantage. And I don't know, maybe it's me. It just rubs me the wrong way when I hear stuff like that, to think that you might be that good, but you're eventually it's living and dying by the edge of the sword if you feel that you're just going to turn it on when you want to, because there's no guarantee that next year you can sleepwalk through 2 games and go down 2-0 and then hope that the other team is going to challenge a goal that was ridiculous to challenge, and then have one of their better players just simply not clear the puck. Otherwise, it would have been good night, Irene, in that series.
Yep. Oh yeah, they were lucky last year to get through LA. We know that. Hey, listen, I don't really see it quite the same way as you. I feel like I just, if we're talking about identifying the game that we're both talking about here, that strong defensive game, a little bit lower event, but the Oilers offensive guys, they're pretty good at burying their chances, even with not many of them. If we're trying to identify that game, I'm here to tell you, they play that game on the road more than they play it at home. They're for whatever reason, the Oilers on the road have pulled that game that you're talking about out in the playoffs quite a bit. So don't ask me why. And I'm here there's no question that home ice advantage in Game 7. No one's questioning. You'd rather be at home than on the road in Game 7. But starting series and stuff, this team's pretty good on the road. And they're, they don't, I'm just telling you, they don't mind playing on the road. Home ice advantage doesn't matter to them, whether you agree or not. I can tell talking to the guys, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
You don't love that, hey?
No, I don't. I just, it's like claiming, it doesn't matter if we constantly sleepwalk and play porous defensively. Like, it's happened too often this year. And hey, maybe I know when the playoffs start, it's another season. I understand all that, but you're making it harder on yourself. You'll never have a season more easily gift wrapped to win the damn division than this year. And if you don't do it, to me, that'll be a monumental fail. A monumental fail. You're in the driver's seat with 4 games remaining. You control your destiny. If you win your games, Vegas can't catch you. That's a fact. It's a mathematical fact. So you control your destiny here. And you got a San Jose Sharks team tonight that's got a really good young up-and-coming player, no question, but they're a team that gives up a lot of chances. They've done it all year long. To me, here, Edmonton, you can salvage a season by winning the division. You don't win the division this year. I just think that's the ultimate failure by that team, regardless of what they do in the playoffs.
Okay. Well, let's, they are in the driver's seat with 4 to play.
Yes,
sure.
they are.
So,
and they haven't played well to get there. Like, let's be honest, through 78 games, they've been wildly inconsistent, yet they've been given a gift. And now we'll see if
it's a gift. They have been since the Olympic break. I'll tell you, they've played pretty well.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking the whole season, Spec, because if they play
well, no. The whole season has not been well. They flipped the switch coming out of the Olympic break is what they've done here. Mm-hmm. And, let's see how it works for them. I'm not telling you it's the only way to do it or it's the right way to do it, but this team has, with the 2 playoff runs they've made, somehow each year it seems like it takes longer and longer for them to put their nose to the grindstone. And this year it took a long time, but I am saying that if I see on a lot of nights in the last 3 weeks, I've seen remnants and reminders and evidence of the team we watched roll through some playoff series here the last couple of years. I want to see it in the playoffs. Let's see where we go. I'm not predicting a Stanley Cup here, but they do look a lot more like themselves. You got to admit.
Yes. However, now it's 2 losses in a row, and they've allowed 11 goals in their last 2 games. Like this is a pretty big game tonight here to stop the bleeding again. You don't want to suddenly go and lose 3 games against teams either in your division or battling for a playoff spot and allow 15 goals. Like they got to tighten things up tonight. This is there's only 3 games. There's nobody you can win tonight, and put yourself 2 points up. And even regardless of what Vegas and Anaheim do tomorrow night, because the Sharks are playing the Ducks tomorrow night, that you could you just get a little bit closer, right? And you put more pressure on those teams to have to keep up to you, even though you have the advantage. I think it's a big game. And if you're Chris Knobloch, are you putting Szymanski in? I don't know if it matters or not. Do you put him in tonight, and do you take out one of Jones or Lazar? Like, is Jones, he played the fewest minutes last night. I looked at 7 minutes. Like, is this an easy switch, Jones for Szymanski?
Well, how are you up the middle? Like, to me, Szymanski's become a centerman on this team.
All right.
To me, he's using him as a center. He's been fairly effective as a center. And I think you like Henrique's game.
He's not coming out.
He's not coming out. They've had a pretty good.
Not coming out.
I don't think I'm messing with my depth. My depth guys were pretty good last night. I thought the third and fourth line gave you a couple of goals.
Fine. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm not sure. Yeah. So you think he might just go status quo except the goalie?
I would say so. Yeah. Like I don't see any reason. Sure, you want to get Szymanski in, but I can't think of a guy on the bottom 6 to take out. I thought they were all good last night.
All right. Spec, we're going to go to San Jose. Shanpeng's going to join us next, and we'll find out what the Sharks are doing. Vinny Desharnais all of a sudden playing 24 minutes a night. So
what?
Touch on that. Yes, indeed. Spec, have yourself a good one. Enjoy the game.
All right. Sounds good, Jake.
There you go. That's Mark Spector. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. We will come back, and the San Jose Sharks, who they control their own destiny as well. If you look with those games in hand, the Sharks do have the most games left in the Western Conference with 6 games remaining. They are currently 3 points out of a playoff spot, 2 games in hand. Tonight, Oilers. Tomorrow, Ducks. Win them, and they're in. We'll discuss it next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers the Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started. At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports is Sports 1440.
From Low Tide to Kevin Carius and Jason Gregor, we deliver the latest on your favorite teams.
Tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
To Sports 1440.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars continues, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Yesterday, you heard stories from Stars VIPs, very important patients, and how Stars has made a difference in their lives. You also heard from members of the Stars team and other key contributors. Today, as the fundraising efforts continue, please donate and help keep Stars flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
Is your business ready to grow? Not sure how? We have your solution. We are Stingray. Whether your customers are around the corner or across the country, Stingray connects you with radio to digital advertising, including connected TV, search and social, programmatic, digital advertising, and digital out of home. From idea to execution, we've got you covered. With creative and production, cross-platform integration, detailed reporting, and one-on-one support, it's the easy way to make your business grow. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
From the locker room to your radio, Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader. Real talk, big personalities, and your texts. It's interactive. It's fun. It's where Edmonton talks sports. Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa Service Department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
5:38. Welcome back. The Buffalo Sabres in a great race atop the Atlantic Division. 4 games remaining. Tampa Bay, 102 points. Buffalo, 102 points. Montreal, 102 points. Now, Tampa and Buffalo each have 39 regulation wins. Tampa Bay has 44 regulation/overtime wins, so they own the tiebreaker over the Sabres. The Canadians, they're well back in regulation wins, so they're going to have to outright beat both of those teams to finish first. The Sabres are playing one of their 4 games tonight, and they are not sitting back and taking it lightly. They are already up 2-0 on the New York Rangers midway through the first period. Ryan McLeod scored his 13th of the season, and a few minutes ago, Zach Benson scored his 11th goal of the season and is 2-0 for the Sabres. In Toronto tonight, a game that doesn't mean much. The Washington Capitals are not going to be able to catch anybody. I know they're not officially eliminated, but they are on life support. They're 5 points back of Ottawa and 4 games remaining. The Senators win 2 of their 4 games. The Capitals are done. So, but tonight, Ilya Protas, the younger brother of Alexei Protas, is playing, and I'm telling you, this guy's big. Tom Wilson's on their line. Tom Wilson's the smallest guy on their line. And you like Ilya Protas are big and physical and aggressive. There could be some trouble there with them guys moving forward. So Washington's not going to make it this year, but man, they got some big and they got some other skilled guys coming, man. Like they got a pipeline. I know Ovechkin, whether he decides in the offseason or whether that's next year is his last year or this was his last year. I kind of like that he's not telling anyone his plans. He's not going to have and I hope that next year he doesn't do it because then I'll be annoyed. But no season-long retirement, please. Thank you very much. That would be great. Now, let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and the Chicken Big Mac is here. You combine the McChicken burger with the Big Mac buns and the sauce, and it is a delicious combo if you like both. Check it out right now, only at McDonald's. As Shen Peng from San Jose Hockey Now joins us to talk about the Sharks, who they were in, and it looked like maybe they'd fallen out with all their losses, and now suddenly they're back in with a chance potentially with some games in hand. A victory tonight would move them 1 point back of the Nashville Predators and would leapfrog LA because they own the tiebreaker. Shen, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent. So the Sharks, it's been up and down. No one can say their team hasn't been entertaining this season, because just when you thought they're out, they come back and they get some wins. They're there. So now they take on the Edmonton Oilers tonight, who have been a little Jekyll and Hyde themselves. They can be really good when they want to be and really bad when they want to be. When you look at the Sharks, is their biggest challenge that they don't have the consistency defensively, and that's ultimately what's kind of led them to being where they're at right now?
Yeah, I think that's a fair kind of big picture assessment of it. I think a lot of that comes from just being a very young team and not being as urgent or desperate in some situations, just because you don't know that you need to be.
And really, like, when you look at their blue line, it's like they don't have a dominant pair, right? Like, that's obviously something they would like. And guys have moved around. And like, I saw Vinny Desharnais played over 24 minutes the other night. Like, I like Vinny on my team, no question. I don't know if I want him playing 24 minutes every game, but big body. What do you make about all these pending UFA defensemen? How many do you think ultimately are going to re-sign in San Jose?
I would guess that Desharnais comes back. These are just pure guesses. I haven't checked in on this in a couple of weeks at least, but Nick Leddy actually has made a surprising account for himself since he came back into the lineup, actually in Edmonton on March 17th. He looked like he was done. He was waived in January. Nobody wanted him. Partly $4 million AAV, so that's part of it too, but no one picked him up. And anyway, he's played quite well since he's been back. He's been arguably the Sharks' most consistent defenseman, which is a statement unto itself in not necessarily all positive way. But still, though, he has been pretty good. And so he's a guy that I can see maybe coming back as your number 7-ish kind of guy. And I don't know. Ferraro's the big question mark, because Ferraro, I think there will be a demand for him on the market, but as far as I checked before the deadline, there was maybe some interest from the Sharks in terms of like a short-term deal with Ferraro. But Ferraro's 27, and he is at a point in free agency where he can probably get like 4 years, 5 years. If you look at similar guys like Lindgren and Cody Ceci in terms of just more defensive guys, those guys all got 4 years. Yeah. So I can see Mario definitely getting 4 years. And so if he wants to kind of get his first big contract of his career, he deserves it. He should chase that if he can get that. So I'm not sure if they're going to find that middle ground here in San Jose for him.
How has Dickinson played overall?
I think that his growth, it's more subtle. Obviously, you don't see it in the points, but I really like how they've handled him, actually. I think that what he needed to learn coming out of the OHL was how to play defense at the AHL level, how to play winning defense at AHL level. He has the physical tools to do it, obviously the size, and he is a incredible skater. Those are two areas that he's already AHL caliber, but he had to learn the pace of the NHL. He had to learn defensive positioning. He had to learn that he can't be that freewheeling guy that he was in London here. And I think he's done a good job of it, that he was very, very raw to start the season, very, very raw if you go back to the summer and watch like development camp and stuff like that. And now he's been able to kind of hang in there right now. Like, granted, this is a shallow Sharks blue line. On a deeper blue line, he wouldn't be in the top 6. But on this Sharks defense, though, he's been credible and he's been usable. And I think that's actually a pretty big achievement, to be usable as a 19-year-old defenseman in a playoff race.
Yeah, no, that is totally fair. Macklin Celebrini, we'll talk about him in a second. He's obviously having a great year. Will Smith's having a really good year. And kind of quietly, Colin Graff is putting together a pretty solid season for him. When you look at it, 20-goal season and, a young guy. He's a guy, though, that needs a new contract.
Yeah.
What do you – now, he's an RFA, but his numbers are pretty decent this year. Where, you look at his age. What do you – like, what's kind of – is he a midterm deal? Do you think he's at all a chance of like a longer term deal? What do you think happens with him and the Sharks?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there is a chance of a longer term deal, like maybe like a 5-ish, something like that. This is just me spitballing. I don't know this for a fact, but with Colin, though, you see somebody that has obvious skill, and coming out of Quinnipiac, he was a much sought after college free agent, scored a lot of points in college. But I think the most impressive thing about Colin and what makes him a possible long-term guy isn't really the points. The points matter, the goals matter, but he's also transformed himself into a top-notch top-notch penalty killer, which is kind of amazing because he didn't do that at college. So there was really no sense based on his college tape that this was something that he could do. But the Sharks identified that he had the ability to potentially do this. And credit to Colin, credit to the Sharks development staff that they've worked on it. And they've turned this player that, Jason, you've seen so many guys come out of college, or big scorers, big playmakers, and they can't adapt their game to an NHL level because you can't do that at an NHL level. And so Colin's been able to adapt his game to have that sort of middle six, bottom six kind of ability, but also too, obviously you see he surpassed 20 goals. So he's got big deal or real deal NHL scoring potential too. So I think he's a guy that's going to be in a Sharks middle six for a long, long time on playoff Sharks teams. And when the Sharks get back to cup contention, I think there's a good chance that Colin Graff will be there for that.
Shen Peng joins us. Sharks hosting the Edmonton Oilers tonight. Who's starting in goal tonight for the Sharks?
Got Nedeljkovic.
Okay. What do you make? How's their goal? Obviously, I know the Sharks aren't the best defensive team this year, so at times their goalie is going to be in a tough situation, Shen. But
right.
How do you feel? Goaltending overall has been for San Jose this season.
I think considering, like you mentioned, that the team defense too, isn't the deepest on this team, that I think both goalies have done pretty well. But I think you can also say comfortably that Alex Nedeljkovic has kind of outplayed Yaroslav Askarov since basically November. In November, Askarov was incredible. He went 8-2-2, had I think like a 940 save percentage. His other months though have been kind of up and down. And Nedeljkovic has been better, has more wins, has a better save percentage in lesser games, lesser number of starts. So I'm very curious how the Sharks will handle this final stretch here, where though they basically got to win to get in. And so do they start to turn to Nedeljkovic a little bit more just because Nedeljkovic has been just a little bit better than Askarov? And I don't think that's any really damaging statement toward Askarov. I know a lot of people look at Askarov's status as a first-round pick, as a top prospect. It's also his first year as a true blue starter in an NHL. And so we saw, I mentioned that in November when he was credible, we saw the kind of the heights that his game can reach. And now he's kind of working through, he's got to be more consistent game to game, got to iron out some things, maybe areas that other teams are kind of targeting and beating him at, but his talent is still there. He's doing a good job, but Nedeljkovic has been a little better. And so will he finish out more of the games to end the season? And if they do get to the playoffs, who gets the game one start?
Yeah, well, if they get there, obviously it would be great for the San Jose Sharks. They're going to have to go on a pretty good run. And really, like the next two nights, it could be over or it could be legit here in the next 20, well, I guess a little bit more than 24 hours. Let's say 30 hours by the time tomorrow night's game's done. You got the Oilers tonight and the Ducks tomorrow. And if you look at this Sharks team and you see, LA, and you look at the schedule and everything else, Shen, how realistic is it? Do you think the Sharks have it in them they probably got to win at least 4 of their final 6 games to get in, and maybe 5, depending on what happens?
Well, every time we've counted out the Sharks this season, I mean, since the Olympics, basically, they've had a 5-game losing streak, a 6-game losing streak. And so they've managed to rally back. Obviously, too, the Western Conference playoff race, Connor McDavid called the division a pillow fight. I actually liken it more to like roller derby, where just teams are just crashing into each other and they have no idea what they're doing out there. I'm talking about for that last wildcard spot, Nashville. Now Seattle's out of it, but teams like that, St. Louis. But anyway, though, so it's been kind of like that. So I think they definitely have got it in them. Definitely a tough 2 games here with Edmonton and Anaheim back-to-back, but they are going to probably catch Anaheim at the right time, obviously. Yeah. Anaheim's obviously struggling. And like you said with Edmonton, Edmonton isn't the 800-pound gorilla that they were last year. Sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. And so maybe the Sharks will catch the Oilers on the bad side of it tonight.
Well, that's what they're going to have to hope, and we'll see which Oiler team shows up. Is the one that's played pretty well for 10 games defensively, or is the one that last night decided to be Santa Claus again? So we'll see. Shed, it's going to be loud, though. The Shark Tank's getting a lot louder again. When the San Jose Sharks are good, that is a really intimidating place to play. So should be a great atmosphere. I would think, with McDavid in town and the Sharks right in the heart of a playoff race, should be a pretty good crowd tonight. So enjoy it. We always appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, man. Anytime.
There you go. That's Shen Penn from San Jose Hockey Now. Quick break. We'll come back. And Cam Tate to wrap up the show here on Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lottery, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
What a performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Bring into savings at the Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals, and buy more, save more. Up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game. Save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 50% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
It's here. The Ford, it's a big Not yet. The Ford, it's a big deal. Oh, guys, just wait. The Ford, it's a big deal event is on. Really? Now. Hurry in to lease a 2026 F-150 STX with black appearance package from $237 bi-weekly at 0% APR for 36 months with $54.90 down. That's like $119 a week. The Ford, it's a big deal event. Visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca.
The Critical Care On the Air Radiothon for Stars continues, presented by BHP and Parrish and Heimbecker. Your chance to support this vital service that delivers life-saving care to Albertans. Yesterday, you heard stories from Stars VIPs, very important patients, and how Stars has made a difference in their lives. You also heard from members of the Stars team and other key contributors. Today, as the fundraising efforts continue, please donate and help keep Stars flying and saving lives. Visit criticalcareontheair.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers fans, season seats have never been easier. Sign up for first access to full, half, and quarter seats starting at only $28 per week by visiting edmontonoilers.com/season seats.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We continue on the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. As it's time now for the 2-minute warning, by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Here is Cam Tate.
We all chase that glittering mirage of a bigger paycheck. Who wouldn't want their bank account to stop echoing like an empty cathedral? But the quiet executioner behind our desperate escapes is rarely the money. More often, it's the person at the helm, the manager who can turn your morning coffee into liquid dread. The chasm between a fierce leader and a soul-crushing boss is as deep as the hollow ache of Sunday night anxiety. Here in Canada, according to the Robert Half Employment Agency, the numbers slice through pretense like a blade. 39% of professionals have fled into the void, choosing the terrifying unknown over the suffocating weight of a manager who could make even breathing feel like an act of rebellion. But on the other side, 69% of workers cling to their desks with fierce devotion. I can just see Gregor's face right now. What are you doing, Tater? Writing for the Financial Post podcast? I know. But hear me out here. See what I did there? Hear me out here. Okay, sorry. Let's get to it. Connor McDavid. He's done it before. He did it again last night. The Oilers' 3-ring circus against the Utah Mammoth. Another masterpiece from McDavid. And then he skates to the bench, throws his hands up in frustration. You could feel it. Deja vu from last year's Stanley Cup final. Remember when he called out the offense? Same plays, same results. No results. A shot across the bow at the coaching staff. And then, perhaps the greatest Lodge Brother hometown deal known to man, McDavid signs a deal, leaves money on the table. Why? To give management the resources to make this team better. Did someone say goaltending? Last night, game 80. Goaltending? Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And here's the thing. McDavid doesn't want more money. He wants a legitimate chance to win a Stanley Cup. And honestly, I'm running out of reasons why he'd stay in Edmonton. If he leaves, it hurts like hell to say, but I really can't blame him. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Halley, Kruger, Miss Mac, me, I'm Tater, Sports 1440.
Well, we'll see what the Oilers have in store for tonight. Which team's going to show up? The one that you watched play pretty sound defensive hockey for much of the games, post, I wouldn't even say right away after, but probably ever since that Florida game. I think after that, and I shouldn't even say that. The Colorado game, the Vegas games on the road before that were pretty good. So, you know what? You'll have a stinker every now and then. I get it. It's fine. It's going to happen. You can go back and I can show you Colorado stinkers. I can show you Dallas Stars stinkers. Difference is Edmonton's had more of them than those teams. That's the difference. And when you're coming off a 5-1 loss, now you have a 6-5 loss, suddenly you're back up to 11 goals against in 2 games. It's not a recipe for success. And it really kind of negates all the good work. You put in the good work and it's down to 3 goals and 2 goals and 1 goal, and then boom, everything just goes right back up quickly. And that's kind of the Oilers' MO. They seem okay with it. We'll see what they do tonight. The San Jose Sharks, a team that is in the hunt for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. It's tight. It's a long shot for the Sharks. They are currently 3 points back with 2 games in hand. They got the Oilers tonight at home, then they're in Anaheim tomorrow. They'd have to win both of those games, and then they'd be in a playoff spot. But obviously, that's a big ask. The Ducks, are they going to continue to lose forever? Who knows? But the Oilers, they just want to get a win tonight. They hold the tiebreaker. They're tied with Vegas. They each have 4 games to go. Win tonight, and hey, you can control your destiny. The Oilers win out. There's nothing Vegas can do. You win 3 out of the 4. You put Vegas. They got to go 3-0-1 to beat you. So there's a possibility here for the Oilers to win the division for the first time since 1987. We got the pregame show coming up. Have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday evening. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Enjoy the night. Let's get to the Con Man of Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Go Auto. Where? If you're looking for cars, vans, trucks, SUVs, you name it, they got it. GoAuto.ca. Good night.
The Sports 1440 update.
Game day Oilers Sharks down in San Jose. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock. Pregame coverage coming your way next with Andrew